streaming live on May 21st, 2023 from Bangalore and Mumbai. This is the this is the Andolan GV podcast.
Yes, it indeed is.
Welcome
Yep.
back. After it's been a long break.
Yes.
It's been a combination of very busy schedules,
Hmm.
power cuts.
Yes.
Um, Actually, even NK is having a power cut right now, but thankfully his internet works even
Yes.
on generators. So
Yes. The power of yeah, backups. Uh, I guess yeah, that is a privilege that I have that I should acknowledge. My for me, the power cuts don't disconnect me from the internet. In fact, I was just talking about this before starting because this rain is happening in Bangalore, which is long overdue. We were having
mhm.
really crappy, muggy, humid like weather, and we were all hoping for it to rain, someday soon. And it decided to rain today, and I was just praying that it rains before 3:30 so that the power backup, so like power cut happens, power backup happens, and then I'm back online. And
Yeah, so we don't get a power cut and like a big block lost during the start of recording. That's TV, I mean.
yeah, yeah. So that has happened, thankfully. So everything is going smoothly. I'm very happy that it is raining as well. And yeah,
Mm.
continuing the discussion on good things happening in Karnataka, the BJP loss.
It's
Let's.
it's actually I understand. I know like we have discussed about your opinions on how like a lot of outlets like say News Laundry tend to just be point and laugh kind of news guys, but I did really enjoy their coverage of the news media's uh, shall we say coping and seething in response to the Karnataka results.
Yeah, that is the perfect term for it because like there is this one female anchor. I keep forgetting her name. I think it starts with N. It's Nupur.
Navika
Navika, yes, of course, Navika.
on
Because they
times
say
now.
her.
Navika Kumar on times now.
Yeah, yeah. See, because she's like a staple of the News Laundry, that particular show that they do,
Mhm.
Nuisance.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I used to think that, oh, they are like, like sort of grasping at straws to make fun of some of these anchors sometimes. But then I watched it, like their video as well just now, the Godi media response to Karnataka loss for
Hmm.
BJP, and like it started with her like giving like this heartfelt monologue about there is judgment on earth and there is judgment up above, and when the judgment comes up above, that will be the true judgment. That is, and it all comes into focus, like something, some crap, I don't know, some very.
No, yeah, yeah, I remember that. She said that there is judgment here and then there is judgment above, and you should
Yes,
worry about judgment above.
yes, 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 yes. Precisely. So
It's just levels of coping, you know,
yeah, it
and
is
then
so like shameless. Like there is no sense of preservation of dignity with these people. They're like full on crying at on TV. Like what? It's just a state. Like even if you are like a ride or die kind of like BJP supporter, it's just one state. It's okay. This will
no,
happen.
no, no. To be fair, they have kind of progressed to that level of like acceptance and sort of
Copium. Yeah,
like
yeah.
well they are arguing that no, this does not mean anything for 2024. No,
Ah.
this but the second Miss Modi ji comes into the for everybody will give Congress, everybody will give BJP 500 seats or whatever, you
Yeah,
know.
precisely. That I was also reading a lot of these analyses, which are like, it's good that people of Karnataka know how to distinguish between Lok Sabha and state assembly,
And
and
Vidhan Sabha, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah, exactly. That it is their IQ coming up that okay, center में तो मोदी ही चाहिए, and state में it's like because again, this is something that I wanted to mention. Um,
Mhm.
in the past, I have mentioned how I have gone on this sort of like journey to discover Indian political commentary, like like our own political commentary on our own issues, and I
Mhm.
started watching channels which are both left wing and right wing, and
Got it.
I was very annoyed with this particular channel called the Print, which I, what my terminology was that they do like cricket commentary style political discussions.
Monkey balance it.
Yeah, yeah, very dispassionate, very unaffected, like, oh, it's all just numbers kind of a thing, right?
Mhm.
But I feel like in the recent times, they're like that they are growing a spine, and they are like coming out.
Yeah. What does this say?
uh, so one thing is this, of course, coverage of this, like immediately, Shekhar Gupta is the name of the main guy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he
the
came out
bald
with a
guy.
cut the clutter episode immediately after the verdict that 10 reasons why BJP lost in Karnataka,
Got
and
it.
it was very like it did take some stand, that it was like, at the end he said something very polarizing related to what he usually says, which was like,
Mhm.
oh, discussing Tipu Sultan is not going to put food on my table or give me a job, and uh, you know leave these discussions to your like, he used a particular term.
Yadas.
Huh?
Yadas.
Yeah,
Your,
like some
I don't know,
he's something for like the
cronies.
living rooms of your new houses or something like that. That's what he
Okay,
kind of
okay.
said, that okay, just leave it to the dinner table discussion. This is not
This
on.
I don't think I will ever be able to argue that this kind of completely dispassionate thing is good. I think it has value for sure, especially for someone who is very much like a real politic kind of person.
Yeah,
And to an extent, if you are observing politics, you have to have an ear and an eye and a mind open to that kind of real politic analysis. I guess I just wish they had a moral. I like maybe it's just
yes,
a
like
question
a
of
clear
a
moral
moral stand is
stance.
important. Like
Yes.
like I don't think Tipu Sultan being discussed is bad just because it is electorally important. I
Hmm.
think it is bad for moral reasons.
Yes.
Demonizing Muslim I think demonizing Muslims is bad morally, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Now this actually reminds me, because the particular terminology that he used was like, who cares what kind of a ruler Tipu Sultan was 200 years ago? मेरे बाप का क्या जाता है? Like he said it out loud. I've never seen him actually,
No, no, that makes sense. This is very typical uncle type discourse.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like the positive uncle. He's like the like the evil Indian uncle. The
What are you
and
saying?
and of course, like there was another second thing, which was an update on the Aryan Khan case, um,
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
on.
regarding this thing that what's his face, Wankhede, Samir Wankhede apparently said something. I don't even know what's going on.
No, no,
It's
no,
not
not
something.
said. Not said. That's the thing. It is a major update, because on
Mhm.
this channel, on this podcast itself, we discussed this story when it first broke. And
Mhm.
I remember my stance being like, I don't think this should be made about Islamophobia. But I do think that this is a case of clout chasing by way of targeting like high profile. Like if you can get Shah Rukh Khan's son, like you are like untouchable when it comes to, like, you are the law,
Right,
right?
it's a kind of cloud chasing. Like it's a sort of intra-department power, like power struggle, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what happened now, that CBI has, like, not even the Khan family. CBI launched like an internal investigation
Mm-hmm.
against this. What
Samir
is this?
Wankhede.
Yeah, not yet, the entire department, actually, the entire
Okay,
task
right,
force,
right.
and
Not just
they
Wankhede then.
yeah, yeah, and they have like major like they have filed an FIR in which they
Mhm.
have outlined some major conspiratorial like things which they say that are result of them conducting an investigation. So it's
Mhm.
not even just an accusation, it is like something that they're prepared to defend in a court of law supported by evidence and
What is
witnesses.
so? What are they like? What are they like stating?
Two things which I remember most vividly. One
Mhm.
thing was that the independent witnesses that they claimed had informed that this mothership of drugs is docking into like some Mumbai port, and this high-profile actors and their families are going to be there. Those were
Mhm.
both actually just inspectors, like they were just like part of the task force. Like he was like, it is shameful that they are calling them independent. Like he very very strongly he was like, I am
Is that
trying
linked
very,
to this report?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And he's like, I am trying not to laugh by using this
Is there a
term
link to this report?
to this report. I not sure. I have the
Like
link
what
to
are the
the,
allegations that they're making?
I have a link to the print video. I have not.
Can you send it to me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there something I can read? I don't want to
I
like put on a
I
video
hope they
because
have cited their sources on their description.
um,
Uh, da, da, da,
um,
mm, this I watched yesterday morning. Uh, oh yeah, this breaking down CBI FIR against Wankhede. Uh, they have not given their sources.
yeah.
Uh, but I don't know. But like
Okay.
I
You said this is something they have filed in like a court of law, or is this just the result of an investigation?
both, not court of law, like in a like an FIR. So I'm not sure
Okay.
if it's a proper case yet. It's but they have definitely
Okay.
filed
Wait.
an FIR.
Okay. Wait. Um, is it like related to this? Former NCB Mumbai Zonal Director Samir Wankhede reportedly violated the conduct rules by producing purported chats with Shah Rukh Khan during Aryan Khan's arrest in the drugs on cruise case in the court as his defense in the corruption case against him.
Not just
Uh,
that, according to the FIR, he extorted them for 25 crore rupees.
wait, like the what I'm finding is there were apparently he presented SMS chats in like the court where like his chats with Shah Rukh in like where Shah Rukh is apparently pleading him to like uh, not get him off it per se, but like like say, please get let him off basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, but they have
I
this is
guess I
a,
just want to know like what the this thing is because this seems like so it's so the implication is that this was like essentially purely a what do you call it, like a an extortion kind of thing where they were lucky enough to entrap a sort of big name star kid quote unquote, and they were essentially trying to milk it for what it is worth.
yeah, and even I'm not sure if the right word is like they were successfully able to, because according to the FIR they later returned some amount of that money that like they got. It's like a whole thing, it's like a lot of details, but the thing that that struck me was not
Mhm.
just these details as such, because I don't care about Shah Rukh Khan, but the fact that this guy like very openly was like, this is that he was like, मुझे तो पता था पहले से ये, I knew all this is going to happen, and of course this is a case of cloud chasing, like a political kind of a move,
Who said
PR
this?
move. This Shekhar Gupta,
Okay.
and that it is so laughable that they claimed that this was a mothership of drugs, and you know what they found, and then he savored telling about how little amount of drugs they found on the ship. He was like,
What was it? An ounce. A kilogram maybe.
Not even, no, none of the drugs were up to a kilogram. They were in grams, all of them. So there were three things that they claim they found: cocaine, marijuana, and MDMA. And
Okay.
both, like MDMA was like 20 pills, something about like that, 10, 20 pills.
Okay, so this is okay. Go ahead.
And then
And weed
weed, they were
and
like, so weed was like a thing that they found in one of the like person who was arrested in his shoes, right? So it was like what was his name, something merchant,
okay,
um, and I think Arbaz merchant, something like that.
okay.
But so the way that they had initially described it was like, oh, there was some residue on it and they must have consumed it otherwise. But what it was that he was hiding like a baggie in his shoes, like
Okay, so this just screams party.
huh.
This just screams party. There was a party and they
Yeah,
brought drugs
exactly,
and
exactly. It was
like
just a
and
party.
they
Yeah,
were just giving out like drugs. This is there's no dealing happening.
exactly. And the funniest part of the video that I watched, in fact, so was that Shekhar Gupta is like, these amounts of drugs you can buy on any street in India.
Uncle roaming around.
Yeah.
Uh,
What does
uncle
uncle
roaming
know that
around
we
on
don't,
the
dude?
road. Uncle roaming around under flyovers, meeting random guys for his fix.
Yeah, and he was like, he was mentioning that, okay, how much amount of cocaine they found? It was like 10 grams. And he was
What?
like, 10 grams.
10 grams.
Yes. And he was
10
like,
grams probably can't make like a dozen people high. I mean,
that's
what?
what, that's what the funny thing was. Shekhar Gupta is like, I don't know, maybe two people can get high of this. Please don't ask me anymore. It's like uncle knows something that he's not telling us. Uncle knows a lot. Like, oh
But
my
so
God.
yeah, so this seems to be like if these allegations are correct, and I assume there is at least some substance to them if they are like willing to go public and like defend this in court,
Yeah.
then so this is more or less purely a like some it's extortion basically. Like even
Yes.
if okay, that
That was Shekhar Gupta's whole point, that
that's
not that we all that I and because he did like this whole history postmortem of Samir Wankhede about how
Mhm.
when he was in customs,
Mhm.
he had a knack for like trying to nab high profile celebrities on the airport and always try to find something illegal on them as they're entering the country.
Yeah, so this is just some guy who is like who wants to be in the news for has with like a big headline saying ex superstar caught with contraband.
Yeah, so what his Shekhar uncle's point was that he has a taste for blood. He has a taste for celebrity blood.
Got it.
That yeah, one of the chatters saying Gupta uncle drug specialist. Yes.
Is this like on
Don't
YouTube? One
listen,
second.
listen. Don't implicate yourself in YouTube chat. Okay, I will not be responsible for you admitting that. We do not
We do
condone
not
this.
make we disavow all in allegations
Yes.
made against Shekhar Gupta.
Narcotics as psychotropic drugs are all bad. Do not take them.
We completely disavow any use of drugs, sex, or gambling.
Exactly. Never have sex. But yeah, this was like the details are one thing, but Shekhar Gupta's whole reaction to this was like like full on roasting, indirectly, the entire NCRB. Wait, what are they called?
NCB,
NCB, sorry.
Narcotics Control Bureau.
Yeah, Narcotics Control Bureau. Yeah, and he was like very like who wants their child to be in custody without hearing for 30 days? Can you imagine? And it's like he was like this is a very draconic law. This particular like restriction against narcotics, psychotropic, and blah 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 drugs. That whole law,
Mhm.
because that is the
Yeah,
only law which explicitly says that that guilty until prove sorry prove
you
innocent
are
until
essentially
yeah
you are essentially making the person guilty until proven innocent.
yes explicitly It says that the principle of innocent until proven guilty is inverted in this case. If you are being prosecuted under this law, then you are guilty until proven innocent. And he said, this is such a draconic law. This is such a essentially bullshit. It's like, there's no other
If
law like
it
this.
is, to be fair, UAPA you could also technically consider as.
He mentioned that this is as draconic as UAPA. And this was like I loved it, dude. It was like so much fun. Him
And here's the
just
thing. Here's the thing. When he talks like this, he does communicate with like uncle types, and I think that's
yeah
important. I think that's
yeah
important. Like legit. I think that is important because I think if you kind of try to talk to people and talk about like their interests, so
yeah
like if you talk about if your child made like did youthful indiscretion and had weed or had cocaine or whatever, like
yeah
you can like shout at your child later, but you don't want him to be stuck in jail for 30 days. You don't want his future to be barbad, etc., etc., etc. So
yeah
that is something. And the thing is, the mocking tone is important, and that is why I don't really agree with you when you talk about when you say that pointing and laughing isn't like useful.
I think no. The my thing with this, the difference here is that this is pointing and laughing after something has been clearly settled, or like something has like substantial has come out. I don't like pointing and laughing in lieu of it, because so for example, let's roll back one full year when this story first broke, right?
Mhm.
And at that time, it was like to say anything that it is obviously corruption, it is obviously extortion, it is obviously even a blind person can see this is Islamophobia. Like what that does is that thing does not connect with uncles, as you mentioned, right? This
Oh,
thing, breaking a substantial story, you have a document, an FIR that is a result of a CBI investigation. So people will be like, okay, there is weight behind these claims that a lot of this was about extortion and about clout chasing by a lawman, right? So that will make more, that will be like, okay, there is some evidence behind this. But to be like, oh, this is obviously Islamophobia, right? Look at these
I don't think
Islamophobes,
anyone's.
lol.
I don't. I never said. I don't think anyone said that it was obviously Islamophobia.
I
I do
mean,
think. No, 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 no. Not on the bureau's part.
no. I'm talking about in
I think
general
in
as well.
terms of. I think in terms of news coverage, a lot of reporting has been Islamophobic,
Yes,
or
as
at
a
least
post hoc, the lot of reporting has, of course, been like taking
because the
that
thing is,
angle.
here's the thing. I don't think anyone, as far as I know,
Hmm.
like I may like watch some report on this later and find out that there was some this thing. As far as I know, I don't think there has been any argument that the NCB's case was Islamophobia. I don't think they targeted Shah Rukh Khan because he's a Muslim. I think they targeted him because like it was much more likely, even at the time, that they targeted him because he was a star. And
Yes, exactly.
and
No, but
whether it was
that is
purely
a
a case of whether it was purely a case of cloud chasing, or whether there was like implications to it, it would not have become a big story if the prime a big name in the case wasn't son of Shah Rukh Khan.
yeah. The thing is, I don't want to go back and look at our words. I would absolutely hate that. But from
But I think
yeah,
I think a lot of coverage does tend to become Islamophobic when it comes
coverage,
to
yes,
Muslims.
coverage, yes.
Coverage coverage sort of narrativization, so to speak.
Yes, coverage I cannot defend, like Indian mainstream, like TV. What's happening on television right now is like full on. There was never a mask level of Islamophobia. It's like they are like falling over each other to be most Islamophobic on mainstream TV. However, there was even me. I would even say like mainstream journalists who were like trying to like, okay, I would concede that this was not on mainstream TV. This was mostly a Twitter online discourse thing. But even there, it was like substantially popular. Like, And what I felt like, okay, so if a tweet about how the institution is Islamophobic, how, okay, yeah, I remember one particular tweet which was like, imagine if this could happen to Shah Rukh Khan, what will happen to an average Muslim person in India? I was like, look, see
Yeah,
that.
those guys are just dumb fucks. I get,
Yeah.
like, the thing is, I think part of it is kind of true in the sense of, like, there would, like, you could make the case for it, but it is a stretch.
Yeah, but that
And
again, that's the
and
thing. People
frankly, I
don't have
have kind
patience
of,
for. People don't have patience for this could be a true. What people are completely intuition driven. People, because the angle that the mainstream media was taking for this thing, like the Islamophobic angle, was that the Khans control the Bollywood and they think they are untouchable by the law.
I mean, yes, and that is but that has been like an extension of the whole Urdu word phenomenon, right?
Yes, yeah, that is the Khan
The
supremacy,
the
Khan
the
control of.
Muslims have been controlling Bollywood since
This is,
basically
and if you
independence,
think
maybe
about it,
before.
this is like so obviously JQ posting, just you replace J with M. Okay,
It's
this is full on, like we are just copy pasting neo-Nazi talking points, and we just control F and control replace it wherever it
find and
says Jews
replace,
with
yeah.
Muslims. Yeah, that's it.
And some places where you can't put Muslims, you just put like Soros over it.
Yeah,
Soros,
some,
to be
yeah,
fair,
we
is
are,
much more modern phenomenon.
yeah, we have talked about the Soros posting also,
Mm.
but yeah, like
But it's just not. It's
hmm?
just like it's just like because that kind of coverage has been there, and I think it's important to note this, like, even if it is in a point and laugh sense, I think it's important to note, because nuisance, as far as I know from what I have seen, usually covers the news.
Hmm.
It mostly is a sort of, if you pardon the sort of hoity term, it is a kind of meta analysis of the news, of the mainstream media reporting on the news,
Yeah.
more than an analysis of the news
Yeah, yeah,
itself.
it is meta
And I
commentary.
think it's important because that is the kind of state, because analyzing the state of the media is important too, because that is the media that gets beamed to a lot of people. Cable
I
TV still
think,
exists.
yeah, but if so, for example, if this was a television show, my
Mhm.
opinion would have been slightly different. But considering that this is like a YouTube only thing, YouTube is consumed mostly, or at least, because the thing about YouTube is that on a TV channel, you just scroll through channels and you are at least exposed to like a minute of it before you switch it, right? With
Mhm.
YouTube, it is extremely personalized. So based on what you like, it will keep showing you the thing that ideologically agrees with you, right? So for example, my homepage is never going to happen to have like a Ben Shapiro's channel video, or a Daily Wire video, or like even something like a Fox News segment, right? A Tucker Carlson segment, something like that, and or a shoe on head video, right? Because this is like all completely very very filtered down to, okay, BreadTube is an unofficial tag, and it's all either YouTubers that I already watch, or YouTubers that are very
Like
very,
adjacent, yeah.
yeah, derived from the existing breadtubers, right?
I
So what
guess,
what
like,
happens is that this
so
show
your
this yeah,
your argument is that this is kind of like sort of intellectual masturbation type.
yeah, this is a algorithm generated echo chamber, because for example, my dad watches YouTube a lot, and he watches
I
like
think these
news.
things. I think it
Yeah.
kind of works because these things can be also shared directly with the outside YouTube algorithm senses.
No, but but that's the thing, right? So when you watch something passively on YouTube, on TV, for
Mhm.
example, on YouTube you make an active choice to watch things, and when you actively make a choice to watch things, for example, let's say this news sense video I sent to my dad who watches a lot of
Mhm.
YouTube. He has no problem.
Mhm.
He's not a TV only kind of guy,
Mhm.
but he watches a lot of YouTube, and he's never going to organically get a news laundry video recommendation.
Oh,
But
oh.
let's say I send him a link.
Mhm.
His attitude on going in to watch that video is
Mhm.
going to be combative. He's going to be
Sure.
like, okay, this title already is very offensive to me. Let's see and let me pick apart what wrong things they are saying. And at the end
Right.
of the day, I can always say that, okay, all they can do is point and laugh, but the real change is happening on the ground and they are completely disconnected from it. Right.
Yeah, but that's always true.
But I do think that
I
if
don't think
this, yeah,
that would happen. People used to bitch about that like that to NDTV also.
I don't know. I guess I do think that okay, pure entertainment value wise, like I don't think it is a net negative. Shows like nuisance. However, I would much rather prefer, like, even compared to that, I would like prefer Shekhar Gupta's dry commentary sometimes. Uh, you know, like I consciously many times, like even for like the Karnataka election coverage, I specifically searched for, okay, what
To be fair,
what did Shekhar Gupta say
I do
about it.
think News Laundry's coverage of the Karnataka election is good. They mostly did a lot of like vox pops, and
Hmm.
like they were kind of trying to like connect regarding coming back to the Karnataka election.
Yeah.
We They did a lot of like vox pops regarding talking to a lot of people like all over the state,
Hmm.
talking about like what their main concerns were. Apparently there's a lot of like issues with like corruption, with a lot of issues with like local like management. Like like Congress. A lot of people were sort of. We will have to get to the discussion eventually about what Modi has derisively labeled as "quote unquote" Rewadi culture.
Oh my God.
Uh, um,
I have not
and
heard this term before.
we'll get to
There is
a
another
lot of.
thing, yeah, yeah. But in any case, I think we got a bit sidetracked with this. Again, like this is a thing which is like a very, very personal thing. It is sometimes you have this theory in your mind that it is difficult to convey, and all you can do is just wait for reality to prove you true. In this case, I will concede that this was like a case of where this was not a issue. I think it might have even been a ultimately a good thing, because again, not to discount the people of Karnataka as well, because everybody that you talk to, both in person, because I work with people who have lived here their entire lives, and if you look at the coverage as well, the thing that comes up, like it's front and center, is bad governance, is at a state level. And the inside joke, of course, is that in the last couple of months they had suddenly started doing a lot of stuff, moving around a lot of pieces, especially in the area that I live in, which is predominantly like people from other states who have settled there for IT jobs.
Mhm.
And the thing was, like, one of my colleagues pointed this out, that this year election commission has made it easier for you to transfer your voter card, like if you have a legislative assembly card in some other state in your birth state.
Is there a general belief that the BJP is more popular among expats? Is not the word, but like migrants,
North Indians, especially,
North
yeah,
Indians. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And they started doing these things that, okay, yeah, one metro line had been in construction for like the last 5 years, and suddenly they opened like one segment of it, and the segment then they opened was disconnected to the main metro line. So that segment that they opened was completely useless, because
But it looks nice.
yeah, but it
You can
feels like
shoot videos.
progress, right? And then they are like, okay, the one segment that is remaining to be connected, that will be connected in July 15th. So I don't know, I guess they were implicitly saying, oh, better elect us, but whatever, like I don't think BMRCL will delay anymore now. But yeah, so they had started doing all these things like in the last few months, but everybody's knee jerk response was, why is he
This is
doing so many
elections time.
rallies? Yeah, why is he doing so many rallies just to open a metro? Why is he coming to Bangalore? The prime minister
Oh
is
yeah,
coming to
Modi came
Bangalore.
to Bangalore, right,
Yes,
for this whole thing. Yeah.
twice. Once he came to inaugurate that segment of metro that is unconnected to the
Segment.
main. Yeah, the thing is, it's completely useless. The route that it covers, people have already figured out how to efficiently travel back and forth that route. The main problem that we had was going to the main city. So all the happening things are in the main city, in the central Bangalore, and we
Right.
want a reliably, easy way to reach there, because otherwise you are completely at the mercy of the traffic,
And
right?
traffic
Yeah.
in Bangalore is fuck all, yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted, like, okay, a reliable way to reach the central areas like MG Road, Indranagar, all these areas,
Right.
and that is not there. That is not there till July. But the one
But
segment has
but
opened
you
up.
have like a shiny train that moves a few meters
Yeah,
back and forth.
exactly. And then they did a whole rally for it, and entire our area shut down for a full day. You can't go outside the house, like, because it's the roads are completely blocked off. And then he did it again in a different part of Bangalore. Okay, and that everybody's knee-jerk reaction is, why is he making our life hard? You know, because one more problem was that BJP didn't have faces in this legislative assembly elections. What they had was Modi. They did not have local faces, and that's what Congress had. This Siddharamaiah and oh my God, I'm
That
so bad with names.
Basavaraj, I think his name is, right?
Yeah. So
Is it Basavaraj or am
no,
I
it is
thinking of
not
somebody
Basavaraj.
else?
It is God. This it is not. It's not a thing that I don't care about Karnataka politics. It's the thing that I'm very bad with names. Uh, uh, Sivakumar and Siddharamaiah. Yes. So
Sivakumar, okay.
Sivakumar and Siddharamaiah,
Mhm.
and so these are established, very very grassroots, relatable
So is
politicians.
Yediyurappa like officially on the BJP shit list?
Yes, yes. He was like, every again, Shekhar Gupta, my man. He was like, he was like,
Frankly, we should
BJP hated
probably watch this
Yediyurappa.
video just
There are
because, like,
multiple videos. That's what I'm saying. The reason
okay.
the thumbnail says effort is for losers is because I want to dedicate majority of it just reacting to other people's content today. So, if you want to get to that, we can get to that. But, like, the thing is, Shekhar Gupta is a bit dry. They're not that entertaining. So what I want to
No,
react
but
to
that
is
is what
beer
we are there for,
biceps.
no?
Huh?
That is what we are for.
No, no, but it is all just very, like, very rarely does he actually
No,
come up with
but
something
like,
interesting.
why is that? I'm actually surprised Yediyurappa is kind of on the BJP shit list.
Yeah, he was like, and that was the thing that he, one major point, one of the 10 points why BJP lost was that everybody saw BJP as being like, as having a lamppost candidate in Karnataka Legislative Assembly,
Mhm.
that just
Mhm.
vote for this lamppost. This lamppost represents me being Modi,
Mhm.
and nobody cares about that.
I have seen it work in one place, and that one place, I have only seen that work in one place,
Hmm.
nowhere else.
Which is
Goa.
Goa. Oh, okay.
Because of the Goa elections, that kind of happened
Hmm.
because a lot of guys were kind of talking about the legacy of Parikar,
Yeah.
because his son was like a BJP candidate, things like that. Like this is Vidhan Sabha, so this is like
Yeah.
his son was a candidate. Most of the other places were like various and local types. Uh, a lot of them are frankly just goons.
Hmm.
Uh, like not full on extortion racket types, but kind of government shuts to a halt unless you pay those guys off. Like
Yeah.
those kind of guys. But
Yeah.
anyway, getting back to Karnataka, one thing that kind of like has been a big topic of conversation for a while, and it's been a topic both in news and in like actual serious analysis of the election, is what Modi derisively called Rewdi culture,
Okay.
what in English we would call freebie culture.
Okay.
The Congress, as far as I know, I don't remember the exact promises. I have not kept in
Oh,
as much in
yeah.
touch as I used to. But
Yeah.
the Congress, as far as I know, made a lot of promises regarding giving things to citizens. I don't know if it. I think there was. I don't remember like laptops or rice or things like that.
No. That was previous elections. This
Mm.
time it was like 2,000 rupees fixed, like, salary if you are unemployed, and free electricity up to a certain degree, and a lot of uh, what can be considered freebie social welfare schemes. Yeah, that
Right.
is true.
And to be fair, that has been there for a while. I think the Congress has been promising this kind of things in a lot of manifestos. It's not uniformly worked, and the BJP aligned media has been kind of pushing it as like it is doing standard Fox News level analysis of it will make people lazy. It will means
Uh,
nobody wants to work, etc., etc. We have like God knows what level of dog shit employment right now. Finding a job is horrendous, and yet our mainstream media is arguing that people won't want to work if they get 2,000 rupees a month.
yeah, exactly.
Two
Dude,
thousand
2000
rupees
rupees a month. God damn, in
and
Bangalore.
after like this thing, after and with the level of inflation, I don't know if you could get to, you could last, maybe obviously this is like a privileged kind of this thing talking, but I don't know if 2,000 rupees a month could last a week for a
Yeah, a
family of
week. A
four,
week. I would also put the estimate
for
at a
a
week or
family
2 weeks.
of for a family of four, even three,
Exactly.
because I
This is,
assume this is
yeah.
like family, right? Like this is like they're not giving it to each individual person. Even
They
six
are
thousand, I
not.
would.
They are
Even
not
six
giving
thousand would be
anything
a.
to anyone. I don't think they are.
Yeah,
So,
but like the promise, even the promise is like, even if you like go full extravagant and argue that they were going to say, they said they are going to give like 2,000 rupees to each person.
yeah.
It's
Arey,
still
yeah.
not
Yeah.
a lot to live off of.
Precisely, and the other copium, of course, is that, oh, who's going to pay? Who do you think is going to pay for all of this? This will incur a debt of 60,000 crore rupees on the state government. Who do you think is this is coming out of the pockets of? And like the whole cycle. The joke that comes to my mind is that these guys believe in Congress more than the average voter, because
Absolutely.
they believe that Congress will make good on all of these promises.
I
And
don't think that I don't even think they will. I think they're just trying to convince their viewers that Congress is this hilariously financially like
illiterate,
spending party,
yeah.
like a spending party who is going to make India into Venezuela.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't.
I mean, you could
Yeah,
obviously make like the sort of like typical responses to this, right? The BJP has had like a relationship with the Reddys, like
uh,
industrialists in Karnataka.
that is something that I don't have in-depth knowledge of. Yeah, sorry.
This is mostly surface knowledge. I know. Yediyurappa famously was accused of being very chummy with the Reddys. Uh,
Okay.
but like these are industrialists, and apparently there was the whole typical thing, right? Tax breaks, not tax breaks, but like tax cuts, uh, things like that.
The only
But even
family that I know about regarding this Karnataka election is the Devegowda family, which has been like, again, to quote Shekhar Gupta, has been, their political career has tanked now, which is a good thing. Which was they were like completely ideology free, cynical, power hungry politicians who were like planning to be kingmakers in the 2000, like the previous legislative assembly elections, by allying with Congress. And this time Congress doesn't even need them. Okay, this time Congress has more than half of no, sorry, BJP is less than half of as many vote seats as Congress has gotten.
yeah, so they
S-
can't even be kingmakers for BJP. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's like they're completely sidelined, completely marginalized, which is
Mhm.
very happy about. I was like, okay, uncle has
Yeah,
actual
I
opinions.
get it, but like I don't know why this guy is so smug about losing pure like caste politic caste politics or like this thing, because that is usually the profile of people who are this thing, right? Who are like ideology free, power, like get
Hungry.
as many seats as possible, because those
Yeah.
those guys, you like the road to that is typically using say like caste metrics, like you get like a like that is the kind of way you typically appeal that like in elections that way. But regardless, I guess that whole freebie culture thing is kind of like going to be a factor. I don't know how much. I because as much as uh, yes, it is one state, but I think it means something for 2024. It may not even mean much given the BJP stranglehold on UP, but I think it means something. I do think the BJP will not have as high a majority in the Lok Sabha after 2024 as it does today.
Yeah, I think again, like I think we have talked enough about, and I'm sort of kind of borrowing points from the print. I'm sorry, but not just the print. I think I'm mixing everything into the print because I watched a lot of videos on this
It's
topic.
called it's called meta-analysis.
Yes,
LK.
yes, it is a
What you're
meta.
doing is
This
meta-analysis. You're
is
not copying from multiple people. What you're doing
yes,
is
yeah. I'm
meta-analysis.
synthesizing. I'm synthesizing.
Synthesis.
Yes, but yeah, that the thing about again, as you said, right, the two states that they have like a very big stronghold on. I think so. One is UP, of course. One was I think Assam. Is am I wrong or
Is this some like
no, no. So
stranglehold level?
the
It's
thing,
significant, I know.
the
But
factor is that instead of a chief minister candidate being exported from Delhi to that state, in these states
they have like an
situation.
actual like candidate there with
Yes, so
Himanta Biswa Sarma in Assam and Adityanath in UP. Yeah,
yes, so which are like grassroots leaders,
right,
native leaders there, which have
right. So that local,
standing
they
on their
have
own.
local clout. Yeah,
Yeah, they have a standing on their own. They are not only relying on the party name,
right,
national party name. So that
right.
was the thing that they have in these states, but they didn't have in Karnataka. And
Mm.
of course, they had very bad karma for like nothing good happening in Bangalore or Karnataka overall for the past 5 years.
So
So
anti-incumbency became a factor for like
yeah, yeah.
became a
So
factor. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's what ultimately it is a bit of a hope pill, of course, that this like it
Maybe
is
there
not
isn't a
all.
stranglehold. You know.
Yeah. So the last stronghold of, not even stronghold, but the last presence of BJP in what is colloquially called the south of India
Mhm.
is gone now.
Mhm.
I guess that is something to be happy about. But yes, like ultimately, people
Telangana,
live.
Simhadra don't have distinct governments, BJP governments, or even like BJP supported governments.
Which states?
Telangana, Simhadra, and Andhra Pradesh, I suppose.
Andhra doesn't. Till Andhra, I'm definitely sure. Till Andhra, so Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, these states I'm pretty sure about.
Not
Uh,
Telangana.
I can look at. I can just quickly look at Telangana Legislative Assembly 2020.
KCR, uh, KCR is a like may as be a TRS guy. I don't know how much this thing he has.
Wait, how do
Like
we? Okay, most uh, seats right now is Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti, also
TRS,
known as
Telangana Rashtra
yeah
Samiti, actually.
Telangana
Yeah.
Rashtriya Samiti. Yes, and then we have INC with 5 seats. Lamau. Oh, it's all completely sidelined. Everybody else is in
So
single
it's
digits.
purely a local movement kind of
Yeah.
guy. I don't know what his politics are like, but like it is something. Like it is a completely a local guy because KCR was part of the movement to form Telangana.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So I guess yeah, that is also secure.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, so because
yeah.
as far as I know, Tamil Nadu is the DMK
Hmm.
with Stalin,
Yes.
and Kerala, of course, is the Maoists, Marxists. Maoists. Uh,
One day.
Vijayan is going to be full on this thing. Maoist?
Like
That,
Freudian slip. They revealed it. They
yes, uh, Vijayan was planning Maoist takeover of India all along, and two random YouTubers
yeah,
unearthed the plot.
yeah. Yeah. Damn. Damn,
Anyway,
इस महीने सोरोस बक्स नहीं मिलेंगे.
Speaking of
But
Soros bucks for internet activities, let us get to like
yeah, the
a
spicy
fun,
topic.
like an amazing person who's earning a lot of money on YouTube,
Yes.
presumably not from Soros.
Yes, we are somebody has to be backing this guy up because okay, so we are talking about uh, beer
Ranveer
biceps,
Alabadia.
yeah. Also, wait, what is his original name?
Ranveer Alabadia.
Okay, better known as beer biceps on YouTube, and this guy has had some choice guests on his podcast, which is the Ranveer Show. And yeah, so the rest of this is just going to be shit posting. This was till now was the serious political
Your
analysis.
guys, if you have come here for serious political analysis of
Yeah, ab
serious
ho gaya, this
political
is it.
topics, this is it. Tata, bye bye. See you next time. Like, share, and
Yes,
subscribe.
yes. uh, but hold on. So let's ease into it, right? Let's get this guy. uh, Modi could become president. Rajiv Malhotra. Hold on. So let me put the screen share, uh, and I will share my screen with you as well. Okay.
Who's Rajiv Malhotra?
I don't know, dude. That's what I was also. I didn't say because I'm sometimes caught with my, you know, pants around my legs about these things. That okay, this is somebody very, very, very famous, and I
Oh
had just no
wow.
clue.
Oh wow.
What
Wait. Just play the clip. I don't know if this is the same guy.
do you think you know him?
I found a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I
He
think
seems interesting.
he is very interesting. This guy, I think they have given a description of him in the YouTube description as well. Uh, Rajiv Malhotra, he's one of the best conversationalists we have had on the
Wow, wow,
podcast.
wow. Wow. He has fancy English. He's a renowned computer scientist who's lived the last 50 years in the US. Oh, he's this guy. He's this guy.
He's the embodiment of, it's a
Okay, let's
syndrome.
actually play the clip and then we can like get
Yeah, yeah,
into his other exploits.
yes. Uh,
Because I expect we have quite a few exploits to go through.
yes.
When we say
So hold on. I think I have the browser. Oh no, Chrome is enabled. So
democracy is good, we say that. I want to offer you a contrarian view. You don't run a company on democracy. Mukesh Ambani doesn't say, I'll take all the factory workers and they will vote what to do.
so first of all, first of all, okay, you know what? Scratch the shit posting thing. This is educational now. First of all, two things. The logic of something is good, why isn't that thing everywhere, is stupid. There are things that are good which are not adopted everywhere. And second, have you heard about cooperatives? Have you heard about this thing called a cooperative? The most famous example of which in India is Amul, right? It is
Mhm.
a company run on a democratic principle. It's a company in which every participant, every employee, there are no employees essentially, it's all stakeholders. And everybody has an equal stake and an equal say in their decisions. And so, you can argue in practice how uh, actually democratic they are or not. However, you cannot say that businesses only run on an autocratic model.
Also, like, also states and businesses are not really analogous. You aren't born into a business, not yet anyway. You aren't like the business. You have to be aligned to a state for most, if not all of your life. Typically, all of your life. You have to pay a certain amount of money in taxes, whether it be like income tax. Obviously, this kind of guy typically bitches about how poor people don't pay taxes. Yes, they do. Uh, but like, the point is, these are not really analogous things.
I
And
think there is one very funny thing that he eventually says, that
Mhm.
I think because, okay, I will just play it a little bit and then I'll tell, because even what he's saying is not entirely like, this is none of this is like a baby's understanding of like political science. Okay.
baby's first, baby's first statecraft.
Yes, exactly. So
You
let's
don't
listen.
run your
Okay.
cricket team on democracy. The captain decides. It is not कि सारे vote करेंगे अब क्या bowling होनी चाहिए क्या होना चाहिए. I mean, you'd never win if you were democracy. You would not run a military on a democracy. You would not ask all the Jawans, what should be our strategy. The military general knows more. So, in all these competitive domains, whether it is industry, whether it is sports, whether it is military, it is not run by democracy, but those who have more knowledge, who have more expertise, they make decisions. But in the case of politics, we are
Sorry.
assuming that the average
Yeah, back
Indian,
edition first
everybody
thing.
has equal.
The contempt for the average Indian.
No, no,
Case
no.
of
It's not even.
politics, we are assuming that the average Indian, everybody has equal say. The very highly knowledgeable person has as much vote as the person who knows very little.
Say poor person, Rajiv Malhotra. Say poor person. That's what you want to say.
No, what he. This is just like typical, very sort of. This is the kind of real sort of. This is just typical sort of idea where you. This is not. This is not even a legitimate argument of his own point, frankly.
But of course, like the thing that I was saying, right? He's talked about the military. So, hello.
Like I do. And hello,
Yeah, okay. It lagged out a little bit, but it's fine. Continue.
Marco, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So I guess like this is just typically just sort of this idea that I am the one who knows everything, and everyone who agrees with me knows everything, and anyone who doesn't agree with me is just some moron who has been empowered by democracy to spread their bad ideas. Which, I mean, I don't know if it is always false, but like this is always, people always kind of say that, people whenever people say this, they are always like, I am right because I am right, and if you are opposing me, it is because you are wrong, and we should take away your powers to change anything.
This is even more cucked than that, because instead of saying that I know better than you, he's like, somebody does. The kings used to. Modi does, definitely. This is like, he's not even referring to himself. He's deferring to some, this is, okay, what I wrote down in my notes, right? This is just a polytheistic version of the divine right of kings.
No,
Okay.
it is de facto the divine right of kings. Like,
Yeah,
even
okay.
if even if you don't have like even if you don't have like the Abrahamic God at the head of it, it's still the idea that kings rule because kings are supposed to rule,
Yes.
and kings rule because God said that they can rule. Like,
Yeah, and this is what, no, this guy is like. But of course, one more thing is, of course, he talked about the military, which is not run democratically.
yeah,
Uh,
but the military is a very specific case. You don't. There are a lot of things the military does which civilians do not do.
Precisely. And but there is still, so that is also like a part of, like, I would consider it a part of a nation's, okay, maybe not, but they would be considered a branch of the government, right? And under the defense ministry. And
Mhm.
of course, there is a whole pillar of democracy, which is the
And
executive.
frankly, Indians of all people should know what happens if a military is unduly
Yeah, yeah,
given
yeah.
power.
Military knows best for people. Yes, of course.
No, no, no. This is a country whose neighbor, whose most prominent geopolitical rival has been couped 3 times by its military.
Yeah. Yeah, precisely. They suddenly they don't care about that, because that's
Suddenly,
Pakistani
suddenly
military.
Pakistan. We don't need to worry about like
Yeah.
looking at Pakistan and all the
Those
bad things
people
that
are
it,
like
it
by
just
nature like that. We are not like that. Our military is not like that.
our
Our
military
military will
only
never be authoritarian.
our military will never try to seize control.
Yeah.
Frankly,
Hey,
like
don't look at JNK. Just don't. Either देखो, don't look there.
don't
You
look
know,
at JNK, don't look at like Northeast,
Northeast. Yeah.
don't look at like I don't know Salvador to an extent. Though admittedly Salvador wasn't. Salvador's problem was that they were not military.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway,
But
so
it's yeah. In any case, this guy. So, but of course, there is an entire pillar of like our government, which is called the executive branch, right? Which is
right.
all entirely like which is all. It's not.
I go ahead.
It's not election. There are these positions, IAS, IPS, Indian Foreign Services, all of these executives. These are not
Right.
elected positions. These are selected. Like
These are
you
these are selected
yeah.
appointments.
Yeah,
They are at least
exactly.
appointments they typically appointments made by elected officials, but like
Yeah, based on a selection process. And of course, that there is already like the stupid thing that you're talking about, like states people have already thought of that. They have already thought that okay, there is a certain amount of decisions that an average citizen will not be able to make, and which we cannot wait for a vote for from the Lok Sabha for. So there is an executive branch that executively takes care of these things, like day to day work, right? Day to day normal maintenance and the functioning of bureaucratic like
right,
structures, right?
right,
Of
right.
course, that is already like there is a
Yeah, this
separation
is
of that.
I don't know. Yeah, and but this guy is saying it as if it is like this great revelation that he has come to, and he has suddenly realized that oh my
Exactly.
god,
Yeah.
like
Oh my God.
nobody ever knew before this point that like all decisions cannot be made by a vote or whatever.
Exactly. That this guy is like, oh, why when these things run non-democratically? Yes, but there are the things that are left up to democratic like functioning. Those directly affect people. The principle is choice. The principle is having some say in what happens to you. That's the thing. But let's continue because then he full on just fully reveals he doesn't care about what people, what happens to people.
So that's and democracy is also not something that was a Vedic system. We don't have a democracy. The ancient system of Dharma Shastra and Artha Shastra was not based on democracy. It was based on a king who was a noble king, highly educated king, and he knew what is best for other people.
Yeah,
He unironically
noble.
says,
This is all kings were noble and knew what was best for other people.
yes, this line, being
You
able
know,
to unironically say this line, that there used to be one guy who used to know what's best for everyone else, for other people. And that was a
imagine
good
being a
thing.
monarchist. Imagine living in the 21st fucking century and being a fucking monarchist.
A monarchist in support of a system that has not existed for like thousands of years at this point. ठीक है?
Hundreds, hundreds.
Hundreds, okay, not
Uh,
thousands, but
but
hundreds.
like there are essentially no de facto monarchies. Like de jure monarchies are zero, de facto monarchies are minimal.
Hmm.
Even if you the biggest bitching point about the like monarchies in constitutional monarchies is that they are like a drain on resources, etc.
Yeah, and there is a lot of like this weird. I think it is more of like a
But
psyche
there's
thing.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah, but
everybody
they're
is
still
like cucked to
but they're
these
st-
people.
but they're still constitutional monarchies. Real
Yeah,
power is with an elected head of state.
I mean, if you're talking about the UK, they still have lords, which is a
The
hereditary
the Lord's
title.
thing is those are like that's a whole complicated thing. But like the House of Commons, as far as I know, is still like the more powerful house.
Okay.
But anyway, the point is that fucking monarchist, man.
He's an
Like
ironic.
even like autocrats are still like I don't agree, but I get the appeal. You
Hmm.
kind of do this kind of whole thing, and there are autocratic governments even like de facto,
Mhm.
but uh, you know this guy is not even like talking about monarchy in terms of like someone who or even like technocrat types, you know, because technocrat types at least like technocrat types I argue I technocrat types are bad because their ideology is completely like cannot exist in real life. But like the implication, at least it sounds good on paper, you know, like people who know what they're talking about will like this thing will like make decisions and they will be best decisions. But like first of all, even if you discount the fact that such a system like that doesn't exist, this is not even that. This is a monarchy. This is the idea of a king. And you know, the West, I might have issues with like Western portrayals of kings, but at least they have, but at least like in Western media, when there are kings, there is at least a cognition of the possibility that your king turns out to be some kind of adult moron who is in power and this thing.
Yeah, who
Like at least you
unchecked
see the
power
examples
and
in
yeah.
some adult moron who is in power, or he is some cruel sadist who uses power only to like inflict pain on others. Like
Yeah, yeah.
there are examples, at least in media, that even if you, even media is not always the best example, but at least media indicates that the you can comprehend that this can happen with this kind of power system, right?
Yes.
You talk about Neros, you talk about Caligulas, you talk about Joffrey Baratheons, you talk about people like characters like
I
that,
mean,
like
okay,
people
if you
and
start
characters.
thinking about that, right? But even in Indian mythology, there have been kings which have been bad, like famously, like who was it, Kans? Uh,
Yeah, but Kans is generally not portrayed like there are fewer
like
examples, right?
Ravan.
Ra- Ravan is generally considered to be somebody. Ravan is generally considered to be a good king who was screwed over by his dick.
Yes, उसमें भी they find a way to blame Sita only. They're like, he was fine until Sita came along. He would
Yeah,
have been fine. Like, doesn't matter that canonically he had conquered heaven. That he had essentially, by the time he was Lankeshwar, he was not just Lankeshwar. He had like sort of rolled over heaven and displaced gods. Uh, and
but somehow he saw this one woman, and he decided he had to kidnap her,
yeah,
and unfortunately she was the wife of God. So
yeah, messed up there.
what a shame. But at least, but the thing is, it does come up in Western, or even it does
I
come up
think
in
you know what
Western
I
like
think.
media much more often.
I think I know what you kind of mean to say, because there is, of course, there is this thing, right? This saying, which is like a quote. I can't remember which philosopher said it, but it's like a very popular thing that he used to say that, okay, absolute power corrupts absolutely, or something like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
And
absolute power corrupts absolutely. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, but this has been like sort of synthesized in the modern times as it rather doesn't corrupt but reveals what the person had always been. And that
Sure. Sure.
sort of always, like, that is not something that the power itself corrupted. And I feel like that is the distinction between the Indian portrayal of bad kings and Western portrayal of bad kings, is because many times in Western sort of depictions, it
Mhm.
is there is some level of some attempt of critiquing the structure of a monarchy itself. Like we talk about Game of Thrones, right? Even though
Mhm.
it's a very impotent critique, and in fact, some would say that it even goes against anti-monarchy as a concept, because for example, Daenerys Targaryen at one
Mhm.
point in the show, which is like a
Mhm.
deposed queen exiled to some other part of the world,
Mhm.
says that kings and queens keep coming after one after the
She
other,
doesn't
and
want to
the
stop the wheel. She wants to break the wheel. Yeah.
yeah, but how? She is not going to abolish autocracy. She is not going to bring democracy. She is never planning to. What she thinks is that once she becomes queen, there will be no argument about the succession of like kings or queens. That once she
Mhm.
becomes queen, she will eliminate all opposition, and there will only be Targaryens ever after, right?
Yeah. So
Which is
she's
not
not.
really.
To be fair, this is admittedly a critique of this is not a critique of the show. Daenerys is not meant to be an uncomplicated heroine.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
mean,
the I
but in
think
any case,
I
what
think
I
at
yeah.
least I think they at least contend with the idea that monarchy can be bad because not even for like base principle reasons of like power coming from the consent of the government, etc., etc. We It's just a sort of practical matter that what if your king turns out to be a moron or a sadist or some guy who uses power for like you know like the idea that this guy makes, the implication this is that kings are good because kings know more than you.
Yeah, it is
It's a big
tautological.
assumption to make.
It's essentially tautological that kings are good because they are kings.
Yeah,
That's the tautology here.
yeah, and that's the kind of divine right thing, right? Because
Exactly.
you cannot really disprove that uh, th- this family or whoever has the divine right to rule. God doesn't really come and tell this. This is usually done on like the battlefield, etc., etc., and then you kind of make the myth up post facto. But like even if you talk, I think because of this, the practical matter is uh, I think we've kind of figured it out why monarchists are so stupid, not just in a sort of moral sense, but also in a practical sense.
Yes, they don't understand government. They, they
This is like Babby's first understanding of, you know, like this thing. Also, yeah, this is maybe also colored by films to an extent. But also in the military, you can you can de facto, even if you have like a chain of command and a structure and things like that, you can it is important for you to have the skill required to have the trust of your subordinates.
yeah, with the
And
military,
because
yeah.
militaries, if militaries like active militaries are very meritocratic is not the word. Like it is that, but it's not
It
just
is,
that.
yeah, they are very rigorous in their
They are
sort
very
of,
rigorous and like they are kind of ruthless in terms of like if you don't measure up, it's not a question of like like it cannot be bent in the way like other systems can often be.
yes. Yeah, there is a very rigid structure to it. And there is like, even if that rigid structure is not not independently always verified to be exactly good, adherence to that structure itself lends a lot of strength to your institution.
It's an institutional power center. So
Yeah, but that is required. There is the point. The point
yeah,
is that that
the
is
military, you cannot organize a military society. You cannot or a military society, more accurately, a military society I don't think doesn't isn't optimal for a civilian government, you know.
yeah. This is essentially the
The
Starship
martial law
Troopers.
argument.
No, the Starship Troopers argument.
Yeah,
uh, so Starship Troopers, if anybody has not watched it, is like a Paul Verhoeven movie. If you know anything about Paul Verhoeven, he has a very anti-establishment dude, and
mhm.
he essentially envisioned a society in which is like very futuristic. However, you cannot participate in its functioning unless you are a veteran.
Mhm.
And for so again, you have to have like a couple of years of mandatory service, and the situation is such that that service will not be some passive like stand the post kind of thing. We are in active war against an alien species. So
Right. The thing is, what the this thing. I don't know how much you know about the background of Starship Troopers. Do you know about the book?
I do, yes, I have watched a very extensive video on it.
Okay. Heinlein's version of Starship Troopers was kind of different. Verhoeven explicitly set out to make a satire in the
Yeah,
wake of like 9/11 and the this thing of the Iraq War, as far as I know. I don't
Was it
remember.
after?
No, it might have
I
been
don't think it was
before.
I don't think it was after 9/11, because then the movie would have completely tanked. I think this was
Right.
after the Gulf War thing.
Right.
Yeah,
This was 1997. So yeah, sorry, not
yeah. So Gulf
this thing.
Wars. Yeah,
But like Verhoeven's idea was very much a like you could. Verhoeven's idea was somewhat more nuanced than the satire. This thing Verhoeven made of it. But you could call it fascist. You could, but you could also be nicer about it and call it, say, like just a sort of
selective
state
democracy.
state autocracy,
Yeah,
a sort of
sure.
state autocracy where uh, elective democracy, where you could where the implication was it was kind of an an endorsement of the idea behind, say, conscription.
Yeah,
The
I
idea
think.
is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the idea is kind of creating a sort of civic togetherness based on military service to the state or any kind of service to the state. Because in Verhoeven's case, because this is a line I specifically remember, you didn't have to be in active military duty, but you had to you had to spend that amount of time as a military/government servant.
yeah. I think this was in the book, that in books you could go for non-combat roles. That
Yes,
would
it's
still
like
count
the
as
idea
service.
was, because the idea is not necessarily, though it is usually, that and that usually thing is kind of Verhoeven's point, because the idea is not necessarily to fight outsiders constantly. The idea is that if you and people of your generation are together working as part of the state, you have a sort of typically
Loyalty.
propagandized loyalty.
Yeah.
You have not even loyalty might not actually even be the word. It's
Attachment, maybe a sense of like stakes that
you said Nehru would call it national integration.
Mhm.
The idea
Yeah.
is a sort of common cause to the country.
Yeah, or like some level of investment into the success.
Investment is actually a very good word. Like
Yeah.
you feel invested in the state.
Right. Yeah.
In the state and in the nation. Like these are kind of analogous things. Verhoeven kind of tried to point out that usually this kind of structure would typically only be used in a government that is using it for military expansionist purposes.
Yeah, and even
And frankly,
yeah.
I would rate Starship Troopers above whatever this moron is like arguing.
The Starship Trooper Society would have been better.
Anyway, let
Than
us
us.
continue about how Modi could become president.
Yes, please. Yes.
Not be surprised if Modi becomes president.
Okay.
Modi could become president. Retire as prime minister and become president. There's nothing that says you can't become president. And the constitution gives the president enough authority. It has never been used. The Indian constitution gives president a lot of authority, but it has not been used. A strong person who becomes president could make the presidency the center of power and center of decision making.
A president can reorient the Indian democracy into not only being the head of state but also head of government. So he is talking about dictatorship. He is talking about
Oh, for sure. He is trying to one weird trick the Indian constitution into supporting a dictatorship.
yeah. How what if the
Congress
president?
hates this.
Huh? Yes.
Congress hates this.
There's one trick to solve all of India's problems, because this will come in later. I think that part is like that is something that I want to bite into much more than this nonsense.
You mean right now?
Right
if
now.
after PM Modi's term
He
as a
could.
PM,
Yes.
he becomes president, there
Yes.
are
What
dormant.
do you mean? First of all, what do you mean he becomes president? There is a process for that. It's not like a musical chairs thing that okay, now he sits on a different chair. None of these people know anything that they're talking about.
The Constitution gives a lot of power. I swear to God, it feels like these people have not read the Constitution.
No,
I
of
know,
course they
I
haven't.
know
They
we
have
have
no
not. I know
clue.
we have discussed this before, but like nearly every of the president's powers, nearly all of them, has this like big clause saying with the guidance of the prime minister and his council of ministers.
Yeah, cabinet minister.
All of them, nearly all of them.
Yeah, unless
There is
unless the
one.
yeah,
There is one major exception,
which I guess is
which is
war.
emergency.
Oh yeah,
It's
emergency.
emergency,
Okay.
and the only emergency that has been declared de facto in real life was declared
Yeah.
by the presidents as a proxy for the prime minister.
Yep.
Indira Gandhi made Janil Singh declare emergency.
What does he
But now
want? Does
this
he
guy
want?
wants to be like, one day what we should do is Modi should retire from being prime minister, become president, then have his Pyada prime minister or whoever declare a state of emergency by, I don't know, saying that the existence of the Congress or the existence of Maoists or something
Yeah.
is an emergency, and
Yeah.
then basically rule India as God king.
Yeah, this is precisely what he's like. Yeah, he's just straight up. Just straight up. There's no pretense that, oh, because he has already laid the groundwork that he does not care about democracy. So there is no charitable way to interpret this now. He's like, yeah, I am a monarchist. What do you mean? I should explain why I say that Modi should become dictator. Yeah, yes, I am saying that, yes.
Just go a few listing behind,
Uh,
maybe about 10 to 15 seconds behind, yeah.
But it has not been used. A strong person who becomes president could make the presidency the center of power and center of decision making.
you mean
One second.
right?
A strong person.
A strong
The
person.
strongman theory of leadership strikes again, yet again.
People do this with fucking Stalin, and people do it with fucking like this thing, and everybody thinks that their guy is like the strong and powerful man.
Yes. And
And it is
just.
almost always a man.
Yes, it is almost.
And
And just. He'll be a just
and
and
he's
fair. And.
I guess like the idea is kind of this idea that Ram Rajya is like a thing where Ram himself is going to rule and Modi, and so like the implication is you are searching for the next Ram, and
Yeah.
for a lot of Hindu nationalist types, Modi is basically maybe Ram is not the exact
Yeah,
word,
they
but
will
like,
never compare a mortal
the
to Ram.
implication is you are trying to make India this Ram Rajya, and the only thing you need to do is search for Ram, and once you've found Ram, you put him up there, and then you just kind of, and then you have solved politics, you know?
Yes. Yes, solved politics by installing the right monarch, the good monarch. I'm
It's just
reminded of.
endless, it's just endless levels of like it's not even like it's not even coping really, it's just this idea that you don't even agree, you don't even comprehend that things can be more complicated than like putting the guy in charge, because like like there is this single point of utopia, you know?
Yeah, I'm not able to. I'm trying to find the quote from Jean-Jacques Rousseau, but essentially, the quote that I was trying to find was him saying that after the revolution, that we do not put the king on trial for being a bad king. We are putting him on trial for being a king. So that is that's the some spirit
No,
of.
no, no. I am even open to the idea of the existence of. I'm even open to the idea that potentially it may exist. it practically almost never can. But even then, there is no single point of failure for utopia, right? You
Yeah,
cannot install one guy in one position and then everything top down kind of uh,
exactly.
this thing.
People
Local
have,
problems still
yeah,
exist. Local issues still exist. You cannot you like you
people
cannot
in,
have one
yeah,
guy at the top, or even one guy at like even like a
a bunch of
particular
guys
even
in,
a bunch of guys at
yeah,
the top or near the top, and then like expect that uh, good governance will just flow down.
yeah, trickle down morality.
Trickle,
Uh,
trickle down governance.
yes, this will be, yeah, because Indians do have this very top down view of morality. Is that
One day
good?
we will finish that Nayak video.
One day, that has taken the form of a two YouTube shorts now, part one and part two. But in any case, that is true. That it is like, this thing that, okay, once the right guy is at the top, everything will follow. Everything, all dominoes will fall after that, and that is like, I don't think that's a very good thing to put your chips on. That's like, you can anyway. But there is one thing, just one part
Anyway,
that I
let
really
us
really
look at
want. I really want that
Mr.
part too.
Galaxy Brain Rajiv Malhotra.
Yes, the computer engineer giving civics lessons.
Right now,
Right
if
now.
after PM Modi's term,
He
as a
could-
PM,
Yes.
he becomes president, there
Yes.
are dormant rules
Yes.
which can be applied,
Yes.
and then you can kind of shift power from
The dormant rules are dormant for a reason, dipshit. Those
It's
they
not
are,
even government rules. It just smacks so much of one weird trick politics.
yes. There is some loophole. You don't.
Like you are trying to you are trying to like find a way that there are dormant rules, and
Almost as if this is some magic
nobody knew
spell.
about these rules before this dipshit podcaster and this dipshit author and assorted dumbfuck, and they have found a way to one weird trick India into a monarchy with Ram Modi Rajya, etc.
This is like the kind of logic that sovereign citizens in the US apply. But the problem being that Indian constitution has not been that old. Their constitution is like a couple of 100 years old at least. For us, this has not been 100 years. Even like, we have a clear paper trail of how the constitution has evolved. We know that you can't say that, oh, earlier somebody, they meant it that
Like
way.
you cannot do the kind of sort of wish casting that American quote unquote originalists do, right?
Yeah.
Where you talk about what Jefferson would have wanted, or
Exactly.
what Madison would have wanted, or
Yes.
Washington would have wanted. Ambedkar didn't die that long ago.
Exactly.
Nehru
Yeah.
didn't die that long ago.
Yeah, that's what
There are like
yeah.
mementos and records and things like that. And like if this guy at least said fuck Ambedkar, fuck Nehru, fuck this thing, fuck secularism, this thing.
That if you had gone full mask off, because now he's trying to be like a weird constitutionalist.
Now he is trying to one weird trick kind of like within the constitution we can find this way.
Yeah,
to
there is
get
this
Modi.
hidden incantation that if you read out loud, there is on the
If
margins
Modi-
the mantra is written, and
if Modi takes an oath of power next to a flag with a gold fringe.
yes, yeah. It's exactly like Indian rituals. It's exactly like you have
is
to have this offering and this mala and this deity's effigy should be there, and it's all just going to be like in D&D, like necromancers just summon up an army of undead. It's going to be like that.
Anyway, one weird trick politics. Let's go.
Yes.
from the PM seat to the president seat
Yes.
forever.
Yeah, you not forever during the term of the presidency. All right. So he
Oh,
could.
term. Oh, why
Oh,
do
during
you
the
not
term
have
of
any
the
loophole for the
president.
term,
Who
Mr.
decides?
Malhotra?
Oh wow, we are. Oh, so he is not. The
That
best
one
thing I can
contingency
say
he has
about
not
Rajiv
thought of,
Malhotra
because the president
he is
also
a
has
de facto
term.
and a sadist. Oh, I don't think the presidency should last as long as the life of the president. I only mean the president himself should decide how long he should stay.
Yeah. But essentially,
This is
uh,
just a sadism,
yes,
The
they
president is like the president. The president becomes supreme power, and then it's not a monarchy because the president, because it doesn't last for life. It lasts only
yeah,
as
it
long
has a
as the
term. How
president
can he be a
wants
monarch?
it. No. It has a term. The term is however long the president wants it to.
Yeah, exactly. The president has a term, but president also has the power to extend his term. That's it, done.
So
One
this is
weird
a
trick.
sadist.
One weird
One
trick.
weird trick.
Democracy lovers hate this.
He could say, okay, I did comply with this thing that after age 75 or whatever age one should retire, so I'm no longer PM, but I've become president. He could do that. There's nothing that says he couldn't do
Well,
that.
Okay.
And
first
as
off,
president, you have your term secure. You cannot be through no confidence motion kicked out and all that. And you can run the country. You can make a lot of policies. So
can you
that's a more stable.
can you imagine the level of dipshittery you have to be to think that no confidence motions are too restrictive. Oh no!
This
Look
guy
at
he
how
has gone off the deep end.
no. He thinks no confidence motions are too bad. This is not even. This is not
This
even
is
like
not even
primary level
popular vote.
democracy.
Yeah, this is
This
not
is
even
not even
popular
primary
vote.
level democracy.
Exactly.
This is a reputation of even like party democracy. This is worse than
Yes.
fucking China.
He wants to get rid of representative democracy as well. There should not be any representatives. Fuck off. Yes,
So
yes.
this is
Because
so
he
this is like
established, he believes in the idea that it is possible for one man to be able to decide what's good for 1.2 billion people. He has revealed that. So everything else is just a way to achieve that.
okay. So go slightly behind and start again, like slightly behind.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And as president, you have your term secure. You cannot be through no confidence motion kicked out and all that. And you can run the country. You can make a lot of policies. So that's a more stable system. You elect the right guy, and then you let him be there for a while. You don't kick him out and worry about whether he's coming back in 2024 or not. You just leave him there for 10, 20 years. Because
10, 20 years. Two things wrong with that. How old is
20
Modi, by the
years.
way? How old is.
He was 60 when he got in.
So he's right now 72. 20 years, 92. Will be ruled by a
No.
corpse. It's 93 in fact, because 2024 is in next year. So we'll be getting ruled by a corpse. It's essentially ruling for life. And second, if he survives that, what makes you think that anyone, not forget Modi, anyone will be like, oh, okay, 20 years I have been here, I have corrected the country, now let me step down. Has that ever happened even in the case of good dictators, the people that we call good dictators?
Who is
Have
good
they
dictator?
Lee
Lee
wait,
Kuan Yew.
Lee Kuan Yew.
Are you talking about people like Lee Kuan Yew?
Lee Kuan
Lee
Yew,
Kuan Yew
Singapore.
died, as far as I know. Or
Yeah,
did he
that's
quit?
what I
Might
said.
have
He
quit.
never left power. He was there till
Like even if the thing is, see, one of the rules I think for understanding of geopolitics is Singapore is never representational of normal states. City
yeah,
states
it's smaller
are
than a city.
city states are economic cheat codes.
Exactly.
You
In-
cannot judge normal states by metrics of city states. What works there will not always, or will not even typically work elsewhere.
Precisely. And like I don't think he knows even about Singapore. I think he's just a full on moron. I think he's just like
No, he's Ram Rajya.
Yeah.
He thinks what we should have. He thinks politics means Ram Rajya, and the process of politics is looking for the Ram. And once you find the Ram, you put him up there, and then politics is solved.
Yes, politics is a problem. The solution is finding Ram, and once you find Ram, that's victory condition. We have
Yes.
achieved
So and that
government.
kind of means, and that is kind of where everything else draws from, right? You cannot risk Ram getting kicked out by popular
Yeah,
opposition. You
what
can't
does
risk
an
Ram getting.
what
You
does an
can't risk
average
Ram
Indian know?
getting.
What does an
Huh?
average Indian know? What does an average Indian know about how good Ram is? What if the
Yeah.
average Indian wants Ram out?
You cannot get Ram kicked out by popular revolt. You
Yeah,
can't get Ram kicked out by
no confidence vote.
elite revolt.
Yeah.
You cannot get elite revolt,
Yes,
like
yeah,
popular elite revolt. You
yes,
can't get Ram kicked out by any means, basically.
yes,
And the point of Ram is to go at the top of power and stay at the top of power, and eventually somehow, like good governance will kind of just flow down,
yes.
and it's such a childish view when you think about it.
Yeah, and this guy is on like how many views does this shit have? Wait,
About 200,000,
where does it?
below just above the description.
Oh yeah, this. Okay, nearly 200,000. Nearly 2 lakh people have watched this, and I'm pretty sure that this particular clip has been watched by even more people, because
Yeah,
YouTube
I don't
Shorts
know,
is being,
because of the shorts also has been
yeah, Shorts is
like roaming around it.
getting pushed very aggressively. So and then okay, because I think now will be my favorite part, because I
Okay.
think that I only watched
Go
the YouTube
slightly
short clip.
behind so that we can like listen.
Okay, sure.
Or whether he's coming back in 2024 or not, you just leave him there for 10, 20 years. Because you need to set this country right, it's a 100-year project, because we've been ruined, colonized for 1,200 years.
What does 1200 years mean? Where did this figure come from?
Let
Because
us assume that the end of colonization in this is 1947. Assume.
okay,
If this guy is right, we have not been under non-colonized rule since
800 AD.
about 750 AD.
Yeah, 750 AD. Yeah.
What?
What? That's it. No, and the thing is, I googled this.
Even
Okay.
if you don't want to get into like Mughals or whatever, like
Yeah.
even if you want to even if you want to make that level of like dumbfuck argument, who was ruling in 800 AD?
Islam as a religion was established in 610 AD. Right.
Uh-huh.
So,
So
as soon as.
about 150 years. Oh.
Okay, because so here's the thing, right? I googled this that where did this figure come from? Which crack of their body are they pulling this out of? And it turns out that Modi himself in 2013 had started saying this figure, that we have been enslaved for 1200 years. What is he talking about? Enslaved, not colonized. Enslaved for 1200 years. Okay? Because even if you want to start counting, right, from the Islamic like presence, because most of the Islamic like rulers were invaders and in the earlier,
Right.
in
Like
the
they
initial
came,
parts.
pillaged, left.
Yeah,
You're
they were
talking
not
like
interested in
Ghazni
colonizing
and
it.
people like that.
Yeah, they just raided and left. And they were very, and then it's only later that, some people just came and settled in and around Delhi and decided, okay, let's make this our capital. But that would be like, okay, 800 years back at the max. Right? And it's like, okay, where is that extra 400 years coming from? And based on that, where is this figure coming from that to correct 1200 years of colonization, we need 100 years of dictatorship? Where is this derivation coming from? Show your
I still have
working.
no idea how that 12. I have no idea
Nobody
how that
knows.
1200 figure.
Nobody
is
knows. I
supposed to make
googled
sense.
it before. I googled this before the stream. In fact, I googled this yesterday. I tried to find what are people saying about this, right? And even that one Swaraj Mag article that I linked you, which was like, was Modi's 1200 figure really wrong? Even that doesn't really explain anything. It just keep making assertions that we have been enslaved for 1200 years. It provides no source. And you know what it says? It says that some other journalist in 2014 made a commentary, like an opinion piece about this. And the person, huh?
I just realized who wrote this.
Who? Okay, is it again a
Okay.
known person?
It is a known person. Conrad Elst is. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but essentially, this person's only argument was that the person criticizing Modi for saying 1200 years, he considers the JNU historian to be an esteemed historian, and the person who is claiming this 1200-year figure to be RSS affiliated, ideologically driven historian.
Maybe
That's
we
the
should not
entirety
call.
of his argument.
Maybe we should not call these people RSS lackeys. Maybe we should just call them retards.
Yes,
I have
it's
no idea how else to say this. 1200 years. Conrad Elst has never been the most honest person or any level of honesty like ever. But 1200 years, which means like even if you count like say the Ghaznavid this thing like as the start of Islam's colonization of India, quote unquote. Like slavery, but when people say slavery in that context, they usually mean in terms of like Muslims ruling over Hindus, etc., etc.
yeah.
But even if you do you know when the Ghaznavid this thing like sackings were, and even those were not exactly like, even if those were not exactly like of this thing of like what you would consider India today, they would be like closer to like somewhere between Afghanistan and modern Pakistan. You know, but anyway, so and even those happened around 1000.
Yeah. It's fully pulled out of their asses. There's no, and again,
1200 years, and the and even like this is a very common like dictatorship point. We have been ruled for this thing years. What is like people did it even with the people did it with the fucking Congress, man. Congress has ruled for 75 years. What is Modi requires more time for this thing.
they tried to do this. Then I think it was the 2008 elections. No wait, not 2008. So just before Modi's
I remember it was in
2014.
19.
No,
I remember hearing that point a lot in 19.
when this has been an evergreen point.
Even before he became PM?
Yeah, even before, like the term in which they ultimately settled for Manmohan Singh, because at that time, of course, the face of Congress was Sonia Gandhi.
Sonia Gandhi.
Okay, she was the face. She was not even like some backseat driving. She was front wheel driving,
Right.
and and as soon as it came out that popular vote has been won by Congress, and there was like this uproar of people who were like, हम पे अंग्रेजों ने 200 साल तक राज किया है, दोबारा एक अंग्रेज राज करेगा हम पे, ठीक है. It was, this is unironically, no exaggeration, this was
To
the
be fair,
record.
Sonia Gandhi has been called like an Italian slut for like years now.
I don't know, dude. She has been like, she has put in the work to, like, till at that point.
I have nothing but respect for Sonia Gandhi.
Yeah.
She could, like, if you marry a political person who was not expected to be majorly into politics.
Yeah.
Your husband becomes prime minister.
Yep.
Then is murdered.
Yep.
I
And
would
then-
not have
yeah.
blamed her if she had just left with her kids.
Exactly. And then she stayed
But
back.
she did
Yeah.
do that, and she has put in the work, and I think like I may not agree with all of her policies, but I get her. I have utmost respect for Sonia Gandhi. And like so much of the criticism I heard of her is just like the most bargain basement level sexist shit. Like there, you might have seen like the random photos. There's this photo of Reese with a spoon in this thing in a bikini or something, and that is credited as Sonia Gandhi as a bar waitress, or Sonia Gandhi doing modeling,
Oh
or
my
Sonia
God.
Gandhi as a prostitute, or Sonia Gandhi as a. You get that, like
Yeah.
you
It's
get the
like a
general
full-on
gist of it.
smear campaign. Yeah. But this is,
Like-
yeah. And and still, right, this is what this kind of leads to, because then we get Manmohan Singh, and then nothing. Manmohan Singh's whole thing was being a fill-in.
Yes, I would I do think I Manmohan Singh was 100% right when he said history will judge him better than the media has.
That
Like 100%.
yes.
Like if there have been people who have been right, and there has been the level of Manmohan Singh being right about this. Like
Yes.
I just have no like fuck. Uh it's just so much has it's just a question of like regardless of how Manmohan Singh was,
Mhm.
they implicate this is the when people talk about Sonia Gandhi being like this, I kind of like what you could, if you were charitable, call opportunistic anti-imperialism.
Hmm.
It's like this sort of very typical example you see in all sorts of in mostly autonomists.
Hmm.
Like you see it even here, where people will talk about Soros and how he is doing foreign imperialism, and how BBC is doing imperialism because they made like a documentary.
Yeah. This when
It's just like the most transparent attempt at getting getting people to getting. It's kind of trying to turn your. It's kind of trying to turn like any kind of uh, accountability into like this sort of talking point about atrocity. You know,
yeah.
it's like I think we had definitely talked about this before when that whole this thing video we had seen with Audrey Trishka, where
Ah.
some guy who was who
Who
thought
who
he
had
had
watched too much The String?
too much
Uh.
string, and he was just standing there like he was going to destroy Audrey Trishka, like
Yeah.
Audrey Trishka old, you know, like the
Yeah.
Ben
Yeah.
Shapiro
In the
video.
marketplace of ideas. Uh. No, but that
Anyway,
so
so
to
what
support
is
what you were
Conrad
saying.
L's million IQ take?
Huh?
How do we get India colonized
Nothing. He has
from
not. I
800
read the
AD?
whole article. Not once has he tried to support the idea that Indian, like the colonization of India, began 1200 years ago. All he says, and like this is the most
Okay,
beautiful thing, right?
how dare he call Makhan Lal a pro RSS historian? Blah blah blah.
No, no, no. So I'm sharing my screen,
Orientalism,
right?
blah blah.
There is one line that I really, really want to highlight because it is very contextual to what you were just now talking about.
Go ahead, go ahead.
The opportunistic anti-imperialism. When you are
Hmm.
so anti-imperialist that you become pro-imperialism,
Hmm.
uh, the Muslim rulers had mostly not even bothered to learn an indigenous language and at any rate kept on using Arabic and then Persian as medium to administer India. Muslim rule was even more colonial than British rule. This is
What?
the article says this word to word. I've quoted it.
Muslim rule was even more colonial than British rule.
Words just don't mean anything anymore. It's just because they
Eh?
didn't learn because the Muslims brought in a new language, and I don't know, did Britishers adopt Hindi in any part of their government? Did they? I don't know, because they mostly ruled by like
The
proxy,
British
right?
did not. The British did not fucking use Hindi. Like it, like it was like a local language, but like the
I
British
think it.
themselves only used English.
I think they had
And
this
to be
like
clear,
yeah,
the Muslim rulers, quote unquote, used Persian, Arabic, and then subsequently Persian, mostly Persian,
yeah,
as a court language.
yes, and that was the case for when even they were non-Muslim
And
rulers.
that has always been the case
Yeah, there has
everywhere.
always been an elitist court
Did
language.
you? Yeah,
And then there's a normal
this
people
is
language.
literally all over the world. You know what the court language was in Russia? Wild guess.
What?
French. To the extent that most Russian tsars could not speak Russian
Amazing.
because the language of the court was French.
Yeah, god damn, dude, I did not know that. But like, there is no sort of intellectual foundation to these people. They just say anything and pretend as if this is because again this guy, right, the Ranveer show, he is just yes, yes, of
No,
course.
Ranveer show, and this is a point I think we should probably get to now,
Yeah.
given that it is in the title of our video.
Yes.
Ranveer show is very much in the sort of Joe Rogan mold of podcast interviewer guys,
Yeah.
which is not inherently a bad thing. I like, but I do think if your guest makes outlandish points, there should be some pushback.
He treats all outlandish points with fascination.
Yeah, you
It's
just
like
like there is this frame, I think at around 1 minute. If you could
1 minute, hold on.
about maybe slightly before.
Slightly before.
No.
Person has as
just
much
play.
a vote as the person who knows very little. So that's and democracy is also not something that was a Vedic system. We don't have a democracy. The ancient system of Dharma Shastra and Artha Shastra was not based on democracy. It was based on a king who was a noble king, highly educated king.
Also, I skipped some part in the middle. So do you think what
did.
was he
I
was he
didn't- I-
talking? What was he talking about?
I didn't see the skip.
Huh?
I didn't see the skip.
No, I did. I did I
Like at
just
what
went to the
point is it?
transcript and I jumped to the point at which he talks about Modi. So there's about a minute. So if you remember the frame which you're talking about, when
There's
what was
this. My point of the frame is just that there is this sort of the reaction that Ranveer has, and he's just like looking at him, and he's like all
like a child,
like
fascinating.
this guy is talking. This guy is talking like fucking deranged nonsense about how democracy is bad and the good thing, and because fucking Artha Shastra and Dharma Shastra didn't mention democracy,
Oh,
and
hold on.
because
I think I know what you mean. Hold on, I think I found it.
So has some issues, I think. A family does not make decisions on a democracy. Some people know more.
just look
I mean,
at him.
some may know
Look at
more
the
about
guy.
cooking and what's good for your health, and they make decisions for the children. Somebody else may know more about how to make investments and so on. You do not say, okay, husband, wife, and 3 kids, and you're going to sit and vote and all that, because people have expertise in something, and that expertise ought to be respected. So,
Essentially, yes. He just goes on, and he
And
the
he's just
only
talking
time
about-
Ranveer speaks up is to just reiterate that you think there is a hidden clause in the constitution that makes the president the supreme chancellor.
Like,
Uh,
at the very least, ask him what this
1200
secret
years
trick
figure
is.
is.
No, not even the 1200 years figure. Ask him what his ask him, like, even if you're sympathetic to him,
Yes.
ask him what his fucking one weird trick to
Yes,
subvert
okay.
Indian democracy is.
Yeah, ask him to tell what article, what clause, what
Like,
what.
Indian president has lot of powers. What powers? Indian
Power?
president has Indian
Power
president
नहीं
has
होगी।
Indian president has a lot of powers, but they are dormant. But he should make them active.
Yeah.
And these are dormant powers, which implies that they have been there for a while. Why has nobody? Why do people keep trying to become prime minister and nobody trying to become president? Do you think every power hungry Indian politician is just sort of fucking stupid that
Yeah.
but not you have been fooled by this mirage that that the prime ministership is the seat of power in this country?
Exactly. It's just this whole nonsense.
Like some of the most cutthroat motherfuckers in Indian politics have
Yeah.
not figured out that they can find a way to become all powerful by becoming president of this country. But some moron sitting in fucking America has found out this piece of information.
Yeah, essentially what you are saying is that there is no pushback to the idea that he knows more than every politician in the history of our.
Even if you want to even if you want to argue that this thing, even if you want to argue that everybody does not know equally, it does not know equally and blah blah blah, but like politicians want to get in power is not some kind of, you know, politicians want to get in power. These politicians are some of the most power hungry motherfuckers in the world, but nobody figured out that they can become president and become god king for life before you did.
Yep. And I guess he deleted that video, which I really wanted to get to. And I think he might have also taken down that particular post that I sent you. Because the last I checked, it said something like post is no longer available.
No, but the post, that one was posted somewhere else, right? Or it is post unavailable. But that was posted by somebody else, so maybe it was not.
No, because I was just trying to search on YouTube, and I cannot find that clip because that clip clearly.
Is it in the biggest failure of Hitler thing?
No, because that talks
He
about.
seems to be like, it looks like the same guy.
The guy is the same. So this guy is Hitler
Is the full
apologist.
podcast available?
Do you think it would be? I don't. Okay, let's just. Okay, what I'll do is I will just open one clip, and I will. Okay, it's available on Spotify. God damn it! I'm not logging into Spotify. Okay, but who is this guy? Although,
Ups. Oh my
Avijit
god, it's Abhijit Chawda.
Avijit Chavda. You know this guy also?
Oh wow. What a description. Quote, he is an expert physicist, historian, and an extremely learned and well-read man.
Yes, trust us. He has read a lot. Trust us.
What a specific description.
This
He
is
is well-learned and well-read.
this is corporate speak for when the person does not have enough
और कुछ
credentials.
मिला नहीं.
Yeah, exactly. When the person does not have enough credentials, this is corporate speak for
Like he
filling
could
in
at
the.
least put his fucking degree.
Yeah. What does he do? Like is he a physicist? Okay, he's a public speaker YouTuber.
Oh, professional grifter. Lovely.
And widely influential personality on Twitter. They have written this as if this is a good thing. He is Twitter famous.
Professional grifter, bola na. The professional grifter. The even like Jordan Peterson, the archetypal professional grifter, at least can lean on his like PhD, right? This guy
Yeah.
doesn't even have that. This guy just has fucking. This guy just has like Twitter clout.
Man, I should have done this. Let me try to see
Actually,
if I'm able.
is there a way I can? No.
I can
is there
give
a
you the
way
link.
No. Yeah, like if I can do it, my Spotify is on, like, so I can play that.
I think this will take a lot of time for us to scroll through
Yeah,
this
yeah.
also
Anyway,
because
yeah.
this does not have chapters.
Is there no other place where the videos?
No, they have taken this down, and they have also. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
it's
sure
fucking
that they
damage.
have.
Yeah, it's probably damage control. They might have even they might have even like DMCA'd that.
Yep. That liberally fucked in India wala post.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, again, if you guys missed it, this was like that. The title of the clip was like, "How did Hitler become so powerful? Secrets to leadership." Some. So what? So that my impression from that clip of this guy was that this is like some sort of a apolitical Sigma grind set kind of a podcaster who's like trying to find motivation among these odd things, right? Because that was a kind
Like
of
a
angle.
Rogan type, a Joe Rogan type.
Yeah. Because no. Even Joe Rogan is not so. Joe Rogan is very patronizing actually to Sigma like male types because according to him, like people, he is a much bigger subscriber to the Sigma theory of masculinity, but he thinks that that is just something that you. It's very like essential. It's like you are either born with it or not. You cannot
To be
affect
fair,
it.
to be fair, given that even Joe Rogan is like is a former professional
MMA
MMA guy.
fighter. Yeah.
He probably like a lot of that mindset tends to be part of that community.
Yeah,
But
I think he has like very like a benevolent kind of toxic masculinity, where it's like, everyone can, like, the thing that you should do is make yourself as physically like resilient and fortitudious as possible. And
so it's very typical self-attack,
yeah, yeah. So, and again, being a MMA fighter, he emphasizes a lot on physical strength. But of course,
Right.
like, he does not like the posturing. So he hates posturing. He hates trying to affect being more masculine rather than actually being more masculine, as if there is a distinction.
Right.
So, but with this guy, the way that he was talking about Hitler, like the way that I thought that he's trying to frame it was that, okay, what leadership lessons can we take from him? Or he was such a good orator, for example, or he was able to capture the imaginations of millions of people, like that like that the Nazi apologia framed as Sigma motivation. Okay.
It's not. Here's the thing. I I actually have like I think I had sent this to you also. The list of things that they kind of went through with Hitler.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you did. I think it's on. Wait, I'm
Yeah,
just sharing the screen.
I'll just read it up.
Yeah.
Basically, they started out. Ranveer started out by saying that he thought Hitler was an evil guy. Yeah, I know, hot take.
Hmm.
Uh, and then this Chawda guy was like, everybody has some evil in them.
Yes.
You know,
That was the
some
best
of us,
moment.
some of us break traffic signals. Some of us cut lanes. Some of
Yeah,
us
which one of us has never
genocide.
committed
Some
sin?
of us can commit genocide and start a war that killed millions of people.
Yep.
You know, potato, tomato.
But yeah, and then yeah, exactly. And then he's like,
Then,
yeah,
then we
yeah,
get to my favorite, most bullshit pseudo intellectual talking point in history. The
yeah.
idea that history was written by Victor.
Oh my
After I
God,
have not
yes.
found this guy,
Oh my
I have
God,
never.
yes.
Everybody talks about who history is written by Victor. I have never found this Victor guy. But but
uh,
seriously, what is this? I swear, every moron talks about how history was written by the victor, and so basically the idea is that Hitler was basically demonized post facto by the evil.
yeah, not even
Is-
post
uh,
facto,
put- uh,
because
by the evil West and the evil academia and the evil communists put the triple parentheses in your brain.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And not even like post facto, because the biggest Indian right wing conspiracy about Hitler, because this is something that I've discussed on a lot of forums. Indian right wingers love Hitler. They are like, yeah, this guy had the right idea about everything.
Goal, World
However,
Cup, goal,
yes.
World Cup, goal, World Cup. Everybody
However,
has that. Everybody
however,
has that
yeah,
famous quote, right?
yeah.
About how Hitler removed the Jews and how Hitler removing the Jews from Germany is inspiration for Hindustan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And but
Goal, what?
however,
Good.
however, there is something that they cannot defend. They cannot defend the Holocaust. They cannot defend the systemic murder of 6 million people. Okay,
Mhm, mhm.
so what they do is they cope with that by saying, actually, he had never planned for the Jews to be exterminated. He had only planned for them to be deported to Madagascar or something. I don't know, some South African island.
It
Okay,
is Madagascar, yeah.
okay, and that
Mhm.
was his original final solution. But then he talked to like the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem.
Palestine, yeah.
Yes,
Oh God.
okay, and
Oh
then the Grand
God. This
Mufti
is
of,
fucking Zionist. Like,
yes, a conspiracy, by the way, which has been repeated by Netanyahu. Okay, this is a conspiracy that has been given world stage by Netanyahu. So no wonder Indian right wingers latch onto it. They're like, it was
yeah,
actually the
because the
Muslims that
Indian right,
changed.
because if there is one thing the Indian right wing loves more than anything, it is to suck off Israel.
Exactly. So the list of priorities is killing Muslims and sucking off Israelites, right? So they're like, they cope with that. They're like, oh, it was actually the Muslims that caused the Holocaust. That is their cope. Okay, and it is like,
Actually, Hitler didn't want to do the
yeah.
Holocaust.
So first of
But
all, by the UN definition of genocide, mass deportation would have also constitution genocide. The underlying sentiment is the same, that Germany needs to be free of a certain ethnic group entirely.
Judenrein was the word, free of Jews.
Yeah, yeah. And so just saying, okay, no, deportation would have been better. What? So Hitler would not have been that bad if you had just deported all the Jewish people and not gassed them. That would have been, what the heck are you
First of
talking?
all, for what it's worth, the Madagascar deportation theory is also a common this thing among neo-Nazis. The
Yeah,
idea that like that Hitler actually didn't want to do the like Hitler didn't want to actually kill all the Jews, but he should have, etc., etc. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, but the Hitler always wanted to like kill the Jews. Like, let's be clear.
Yeah.
I think more importantly than having to have big than the Holocaust being indefensible for Hindu nationalists. I think frankly the whole thing is just how you can kind of square liking Hitler with liking Israel. You know?
Yes, that is. I think yes, that is the, because again, this is the reason why Netanyahu's, um, you know, what do you say, platforming of this conspiracy theory is so critical piece in this puzzle, is because this is Holocaust denialism,
It
in a
is, yeah.
way, and but however, if a Jewish, like the prime minister of all the Jews is saying it,
Of the
uh,
Jews, yeah.
yes,
The prime minister of the Jews is saying it.
because it is true, all ethnically Jewish people have a dormant citizenship to Israel. They
Yeah,
can,
no. Netanyahu is their Ram.
yes, exactly. They have found
Modi is
their
our
Ram.
Ram. Netanyahu is their Ram.
Yeah, they have found their, they have installed their Ram in the correct position. But
The hilarity is just how fucking unpopular Netanyahu is right now.
that is the thing, that this always,
Can
because
you
this,
imagine 15% of your population in street protests?
oh, right now in Israel.
Fif- Can you imagine? Like imagine the Indian population is about 1.25 billion. Let's take a round figure.
Huh.
Uh, the Indian population is about 1.25 billion people. You you take 15% of that, you are having nearly 200 million people on the street.
Hello.
Wait, should future India aspire for what?
This I'm.
What the fuck?
I was just looking if he had uploaded the
My,
uh, clip.
I swear to God, my brain froze.
This guy is like, you know what? Yes, US is imperialist, and it's a good thing. I love these people, dude.
It's 5 minutes. Let's go.
Hold on, yeah, let's just hear him talk.
Speed this up, please.
Huh?
Speed
Speed
this up,
this up.
please.
Okay. Copium. I don't.
Now finish it. Finish it.
Let's finish it. Yeah, sure. Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, I messed up.
Just pause it if you want. What's up?
Okay, we're gonna have to repeat this part because I was not
Was-
sharing the browser till with the stream.
Got it. Is it
okay.
active now?
Yes, now let's watch it.
Superpower ambitions demands geopolitical assertion that sees no right or wrong. Correct. There's no right or wrong in geopolitics. India's neighbors are more nuisance than help
No
for us.
right
Do you
or
think
wrong
our
in
ambitions could get a
geopolitics.
shot in the arm if
A
we
very
annex
good
neighboring nations that went against us
attitude to
once? We become a double-digit trillion-dollar economy, means a $10 trillion economy. That would also effectively
For
convey a message to Western
perspective, the first time we recorded this, I literally did this when I saw that this guy is talking about India annexing neighboring nations.
Yep.
friendly nations to not mess with India. Thank you. Look, you cannot
Okay,
learn
fine.
how to sprint before you learn how to walk. So the first order of business is to reach the $10 trillion mark. GDP.
Yeah, that's
Once you do
small task,
that,
yeah.
I do not see any need to annex neighboring nations. Let's look at the geography of the Indian subcontinent. Which are the nations that have historically been part of India? We have Pakistan, Afghanistan, yes, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, the Maldives, and thereabouts. Yeah. So the question is, will our superpower ambitions get a shot in the arm if we annex neighboring nations? Does India have superpower ambitions? What is a superpower? How do you define a superpower? Here's how I define a superpower. In my definition, a superpower is a nation that has control more or less over the entire world and a nation that can intervene militarily anywhere in the world at 30 to 60 minutes notice. Does India want to be that sort of nation? A global hegemon? I don't think India wants to be a global hegemon. India should obviously be the major, most powerful economy in the world, which has always been the historical position of India. Historically, India has always been the number one economy in the world. India needs to regain that status of the largest economy in the world. And if you are the largest economy in the world, you need the means to be able to protect and safeguard that, which means India needs to have a massive military that is proportional to its economic might. And if India becomes the biggest economy in the world, then India should also be the biggest military in the world. But that doesn't mean. So if you do that, then India will have to secure supply chains and trade routes and all that, which means that India will have to expand its military footprint, especially navally and in other ways. India will have to have a much larger air force, much larger navy to safeguard all those supply chains, trade routes in other nations, nations that supply materials and all those things. So India's economic and military and naval and air force footprint will need to grow proportionate to its economy. But that doesn't require annexing neighboring nations. Let's talk about, let's say, Sri Lanka. Will India need to annex Sri Lanka in the future? I don't think so. I don't think so. Sri Lanka is anyway
Do it, bro. Do it. It'll be fun.
a friendly neighboring nation. We have more or less the same culture, same everything, just like Nepal. Why?
Hold on, what? We don't have the same culture.
We do not. And frankly, how friendly we are seems to,
Yeah,
Very.
vary with years. Yeah.
They can't have the kind of relationship we have with Nepal. We don't need to
And
annex Nepal.
someone is forgetting that Nepal is run by communists now. So like we don't. So they are not even like Hindu Rashtra Bhai Bhai. No?
Yeah.
Have an open border with Nepal. The people of Nepal have the right to come to India and live in India as long as they want and work in India as long as they want. They essentially have almost the same rights as Indian citizens and vice versa. The only thing is that the Nepalis cannot vote in Indian elections. But the Nepalese people have the right to serve in the Indian armed forces because we see Nepal as the same people as us and the same nation, more or less. The same people, the same heritage as us. We could have a
Yeah,
similar
somebody
relationship with Sri
tells
Lanka.
us to like
Why not? Without having to annex the
70%
nation.
of the Indian
So we could
population
create,
that we consider
like
Nepal
they have
to
the EU
be
with open borders, we
the
could
same
create
as us.
a subcontinental union similar to that, and maybe expand it beyond to other friendly nations. Maybe in the future we could add Myanmar and Thailand and Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam to that. Maybe even Indonesia. And
Okay, so here's the thing, right?
10 seconds, please.
10
I
seconds
think
back.
I misheard it.
maybe in the future we could add Myanmar and Thailand and
just one more. Just one more.
like they have
There's
the EU with
something I
open
don't know
borders,
what you wanted
we
to
could
add.
create a subcontinental union similar to that, and maybe expand it beyond
Is
to
he
other
not
friendly
talking
nations.
about BRICS?
No. What he's trying to do is he's trying to create a sort of de facto South Asian Union, like EU style,
Yeah, basically.
where India is like big daddy and everybody else is just kind of united. What he wants to pretend he is pushing is the European Union with
Hmm.
Germany as the economic powerhouse. What he is actually thinking of pushing is much closer to a sort of monarchic version of the Soviet Union.
Right. A union of yeah.
Basically the Russian Empire, but it's communist now.
Is he a communist? I don't
No.
think.
Like that's my characterization of the Soviet Union. What he is doing is that he wants the Indian like sphere of influence to include
Ha.
basically South Asia
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Southeast Asia.
This is the same sphere of influence bullshit. Uh,
This is like this is fundamentally indistinguishable from like Kissinger shit, you know,
yeah, or
or even
Mearsheimer.
Mearsheimer shit.
Yes,
God,
Mearsheimer to be more
I
contemporary.
do want to know. I would be interested in knowing what he thinks of Ukraine.
Huh? I'm sure
Maybe
that.
not now. Maybe not now.
Yeah, yeah. I think we
But
have.
given the median Hindu Rashtra position on Ukraine, I would like to know what his is. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. So what the impression that I got about this particular person is that he seems to know a little bit more about what he's talking about, in the sense that he has like some pop culture version of like geopolitics slash economics knowledge.
I
Uh,
agree, but the issue is his brain is poisoned because he is a fascist psycho.
yes,
His
exactly.
brain is poisoned is because he's a fascist psycho. So like
Yeah, he's
that is a
like,
significant problem when it comes to
yeah, he's
anything
like,
really, but like
yeah,
especially geopolitics.
he's like the more serious, more down to earth fascist. He's more
Oh
like,
no, I don't. This is very much the guy who talked about how history is written by the victor,
yeah,
and how World War II needs to be looked at from a neutral perspective,
correct.
and how discussing World War Two. Remember,
Yeah,
probably the most overanalyzed war in the history of the
yes,
20th century
yes.
is like forbidden knowledge that no American podcast will
Yeah,
discuss.
Yeah, exactly. No American podcast will discuss this. Exactly. As if.
Oh yeah, and apparently by Mao and Stalin killed more people than Hitler. The obvious implication being that Hitler wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah, it is full on like Nazi apologism, full on Holocaust
This is a
denialism.
guy who has read up something, but the problem is he has
Yeah.
to. The problem is that if he has to say anything of value, he has to filter it through his brain, and his brain is this fascist psycho nut job shit, and it's like
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't need to read much. You just need to know that there is a book called The Black Book of Communism that exists, that has this stat of 100 million people killed by the Soviet Union.
Akam, communists BTFO, JNU BTFO,
Exactly. And it's like,
100 million.
and the thing is
वो
like,
नंबर
yeah.
कहाँ से आया मत पूछो, but 100 million.
But that's the thing, na, that's why I'm a little sad that that post got like deleted now, is because I also wanted to point out how that particular page that had posted clips and commentary on this particular segment of his podcast was also talking about how, oh, they are trying to defame leftism, they are trying to defame socialism by trying to defame Mao and Stalin. I like, listen, guys, two things can be true at once. Two groups of people, two dictators can be bad at the same time, even if
Why?
they fought each other.
You don't
Okay?
need to do this. You don't
Yes.
need to do this. You don't need to suck off Stalin, guys.
Yes, guys, come on, please
Please
don't.
stop.
By doing that, you are playing into their idea that yes, Stalin did represent global communism, and like, that is what will happen of any, that is what will come out of any leftist movement of politics in this country. But in any case, right, this is overall, I do feel like this guy, like, TRS, Beer Biceps, and the Ranveer show, I do think this is like very, like, I guess he's not out and about fascist like the host himself, but uh, he's just not out and about. I think like, as a person, or as like, as a, maybe not as a person, but his political project is that of fascism ultimately.
Yeah, it also doesn't. It also doesn't hurt in his case that he is also a no fact guy.
Yeah. For no reason. For no reason. He's like, that's what I was saying, that his
Guys,
thing.
don't. We can. I'm reading out this quote.
Yeah.
It's on the this thing if you want to like put it up on screen.
Yeah, I think you
It's in the
sent it
chat.
to me. Yeah.
Uh, quote: one of the greatest things you will discover as a man, dot, 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 is the power of the no fap movement. No porn, no masturbation. Ayurveda has long spoken about the power of semen retention. But only when you experience it do you understand what it does for your mindset and focus.
Yep. So this is like, so this is again, I think
This
my,
is like
yeah.
the apogee of copy paste. You know?
Yeah. I think,
Only
yeah.
you slightly bring it to the sort of Indian context when you say that oh, our Vedas and our Shastras have also talked about not masturbating.
There is, okay, there might be, I think there is, because I read it some time back. I think they have like a whole thing about being very weird
No,
about,
I'm sure there is something about it, but the
yeah.
NoFap movement has mostly existed as a sort of right wing, well, a right wing.
No, we can't directly call it right wing, but we call it as alt right. This alt right is like, the more trendy, more hip version. And by trendy and
Modern
hip,
right, shall we say? Alt right just means Nazis,
or yeah, rebrand, right? It's a rebrand.
right?
And the rebrand is like giving a structure to, like, down on luck, down on motivation, young men. So just give them, provide them a structure. This is how you should live your life.
Yeah,
This
and
is
for
what you
some
should
reason,
aspire to.
and so for some reason, this involves like no masturbation.
I think it's just an arbitrary, posturing, self discipline thing, because that is
Yeah, no,
ultimately
I get
it.
it, I get it, I get it.
All the health benefits are post facto justifications. The
Right.
main thing is, first of all, uh, the idea that of being attracted by women and taking bad decisions because of that. uh, it like, don't ruin your life for women. And what is it about women that
Oh,
attracts
okay. So
people?
it is like your wise words of Dr. Dre.
Yeah. Oh my god, that one song is haunting my YouTube Shorts feed for so
What
long.
what bitches ain't shit.
No. It's that, the story of OJ Simpson. What is that?
That's
Like,
that's by Jay-Z, but yeah.
oh, oh, I'm so sorry. Shit. Oh my god, I confused two black people. I'm dead. Uh,
Sorry, you
but
are
it
cancelled
is.
now.
They are both raps. Okay, in my defense. In But in any case, is what I'm trying to say is that it
But
is like a
Suriya has become popular on this thing now.
YouTube Shorts.
Huh?
Yeah, and especially the part where he says, "Do you want to know how the Jews control most of America?"
He
No,
doesn't actually say that.
own most of the property in America is what he says. Uh,
Yeah, oh God.
that particular part of the song, which is like, what is more important than, like, spending money at the strip club? Credit.
Credit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a very, very high horse virtue signaling kind of song.
No. I'm more charitable to the song than,
Okay.
but uh, like placing that how Jews did most of the property in America thing, it's a little weird,
It is weird. It is.
little bit.
And
But I
but
guess
yeah.
I think part of it is you're right. It is part of the structure thing, and why so much like reactionary politics tends to attach itself to self-help,
Yeah,
or
because
at
there
least has
is, yeah,
started to. You know.
there is this fundamental framing of femininity as an existential danger, because the more that I consume
The
this,
female dragon.
yes, exactly, the women are chaos, and chaos
Chaos
is a
dragon, chaos
dragon.
dragon, chaos
Dragon
dragon.
will eat me. Yeah, that. But yeah, it is true. It has predated Jordan Peterson, and it is continuing much after he has gone completely insane. But yeah, this whole thing, okay, because it's like a logical ladder, because there is this idea that, okay, it all started with the fucking red pill, that documentary, right? Which is that, oh, actually men are supposed to be, yeah, the particular quote is, that the ability for a society to succeed has always directly dependent on how expendable they have taught it has taught its men to be. That how expendable it has kept its men. So
To
how
be
much?
fair, I think a lot of this ties into somebody like Rolo Tomasi, right? Like POAs and guys like that.
What is that? What is POS?
Pickup artists.
Oh, I guess yeah. I guess if you go
Because
far
he
back
wrote a book
enough,
about shit.
the game.
Rolo. Was it about the game? I think somebody else.
I think it was
wrote
called
about
the first pickup artist book is the
Game
game.
was written by somebody else. Wait.
I think yeah. That's just the one book I know because that like
The
started the whole.
Rational Male.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So so that is the idea that men actually all bad things that have happened has not been the fault of the patriarchs that were in control, but rather those patriarchs falling for women, okay, and making bad judgments. It's all Mahabharata could not have happened if Draupadi was not such so egotistical or something, and I mean it's a pretty common thing. Have you never heard this?
Mahabharata would not have. Oh, in the sense that Draupadi laughed at Duryodhana
Yeah,
and then.
yeah, exactly. And
Oh,
it's
damn.
all after a woman. It's all this whole war was fought after a woman thing. Okay, and then that ties into that. Okay, what is the one hold that women have over men is sex.
Sex.
Okay, how do you resist that? You completely remove the temptation, and how do you remove the temptation? Is to not pay attention to it, even when it's
So
self-indulgent.
you kind of, it's a sort of induced brahmacharya to kind
Yes.
of fight against the evil femoid.
Yeah, the Maya. Okay, and so yeah, so that comes down to this, and comes down to the Ranveer Shopta kind of people who have like this adopted this whole. So now they have double rebranded this now. So yeah, no, so they're like let's leave out the subtly misogynistic parts. Let's just talk about this is just self
So this is
improvement.
like, so just kind of put like a layer on top of it. You say like actually we have no ideological relation with no fab.
Yeah,
We're
this
just
is
talking
just
about like health benefits and stopping of porn addiction, etc., etc.
this is
But
just self
like the
improvement.
underlying thing is still there, right? Because it's the idea that a man should be like free from women or something,
Yeah, free
and
from
free
temptation, and
from,
the biggest temptation is women.
right.
So that's the whole like thing, and now it's like okay, because ultimately this is all being done in service for a particular movement, and this movement is towards more authoritarian, more autocratic forms of government. And how do you make people like sort of be more agreeable to that? Is that okay? First of all, distinguish yourself from feeble-minded feminine men, right? So now it's not just about women being feminine; it's about even men can be feminine, and how you distinguish yourself from that, and then you how build yourself up to service of the nation, service of the family, without ever being emotionally attached to them, you know. So play the role of the man. Never think of any systemic change, but always be cognizant of the fact that these bitches and shit, except hoes and tricks is the line, I guess.
Which is ain't shit.
Yeah. But
Oh yeah, I'm actually now going through the whole this Rajiv Malhotra guy.
okay.
Mm, he's quite something. He he's apparently super intellectual, etc., etc. He remember the whole Wendy Doniger thing happened,
What is that?
where she wrote a book. Wendy Doniger is an Indian historian,
Okay.
matlab historian of India.
Okay.
So she wrote like a book about Hindu nationalism, and he argued that he wrote in 2002. So this is
Huh.
like ages and ages ago.
Wow.
So he was basically one of the first guys to really push the idea that this thing. Western studies of India were all Hindu phobic and Marxist, etc.,
Hey
etc.
Bhagwan. Just okay. Yeah, but
You should like read the Wikipedia page later. It's quite something.
yeah. But that's like Rajiv Malhotra is a complete moron. He and I don't know why
I
like
don't
he's
think I can give a bigger insult than unironic monarchist in the 21st century.
exactly unapologetic, unironic monarchist. It's like yes, we should return to the time of kings, and
Yeah, just we should find we should find the right guy and then give him all the power
yeah,
and then put him in power for basically as long as he wants, and then by magic presumably everything will be perfect
yeah.
eventually.
Our slave mentality will be cured because
Yeah,
that was the line
and
Modi used.
yeah,
That
our
yeah,
slave mentality
yes.
famously when people are ruled by kings famously they do not have
Yeah, they
slave
are. Yeah.
mentality.
They have more autonomy than democracy. He doesn't care about like. It's all like if you start thinking about it for 2 minutes, you realize how contradictory that is. Like he is arguing for a inherently unpopular position, an inherently patronizing position that you don't know what's good for you. You can't decide your leaders. That's a stupid thing to think. Leave it up to this guy. Yes, nonsense. I guess we tried to. I guess we can't resist analyzing, right? We can't resist because I wanted this to be pure laughs,
Next
but
level intellectual shit posted.
yes.
Anyway, I don't think we can actually get to Dhruv Rathi.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll just remove that from the title. Dhruvrati, we were never going to talk about Dhruvrati.
Yeah, it's okay. So
But
somehow we will have to limit the discussion of Dhruv Rathi's love for horses at a future time.
yeah, I that is. I will just give like a preamble to that because that particular, like I found that particular comment on a Reddit post that I had actually made about asking for topics for videos that I should make on my channel, and
Mhm,
somebody said that I should try to emulate people like Wash and Hassan,
mhm.
but like unironically they use the word emulate, and
Okay.
they said that okay, I know that you might not like Wash because he's considered a liberal by leftists. I was like, first of all, I am a long time Wash viewer. I don't think he's a
I am a
liberal.
long time Watch viewer. My co-host is very very liberal.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. मुझे liberal से भी कोई problem नहीं है. Like, even if he was like the term they used was liberal anarchist. I do not. I think it's an oxymoron. I don't know what that means.
What the
But
fuck is a liberal anarchist?
Wash, according to second thought and
I,
according to
I have seen
second
a
thought
lot
and
of.
Hakim.
To be fair, I've seen a lot of insults at Wash. I don't think liberal anarchist
No.
has
This was
been used.
this was made by Hakim and second thought. The fair and balanced of the yeah,
Those
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Is Hakim still talking about how Lenin was actually great?
No. He's
And
graduated to how North Korea is actually democratic.
oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I only wish him the fate of Malcolm Carver.
Who? What?
Uh, don't take
Okay,
that.
let's not. Yeah, if you caught it, you caught it. Uh, but yeah, let's close for now. Oh God, I'm talking corporate speak. Let's end the stream. Uh,
Like,
uh,
share, and
like,
subscribe.
shake
Rest
it,
of you.
subscribe. Yes, shorter videos coming soon. I pakka promise.
One day we will make that Nayak video.
Yes, एक दिन आएगा.
Yeah, the day we will make that Nayak video will be in your subscription box and 15 lakh rupees will be in your bank account.
Yes. Elect us to something. Get us to the streamies.
Vote for us by clicking on the subscribe button.
Yes, vote via subscription. Yes, vote through your wallet. Become channel members when that is enabled for my channel. Anyway, goodbye.